WIIFTBP.
Maze Jackson.
Tune in to the Maze Jackson Show every day, Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m., where you can catch us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook Live. Plus, from 6:30 to 8, you can get us on WBGX 1570 AM. That's right, it's the Maze Jackson Show, where every single day we ask the question, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them, Maze said. We out of here. Peace.
I ran into a good old friend of yours, and I had to ask her, how have you been? She told me you were engaged and happy. My heart fell to the floor, I know it should have been me, but I couldn't see you with no one else, but I'll believe it when I see you standing. No one could take my place. I still get funny feelings when I see your face. I know the love we shared was so real. In spite of all the ups and downs that we've been through, sometimes I wish I was there with you to share your world. You were my girl, I'm still in love with you. But I know you're better off with me, 'cause obviously it wasn't meant to be. I'm so glad to see you happy. But your love and life goes on. We had to go our separate ways. You found someone for you. I found someone for me. Oh, but I will leave.
When I see you standing there,
I believe it.
to tell you
Can I tell you how I feel? You're leaving me forever, baby. Please, baby, listen here. See, I got down on my knees and I began to beg the Lord, please don't let it be known. I love that woman. I love that woman. I see you standing there. Can I tell you how I feel?
you believe
Oh, I can't believe it. Forever, baby. Think it over.
you standing there.
Think it over. You won't regret it, baby. No. Oh, no. Said I gotta tell. If I don't tell, you will never know.
WIIFTBP.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
Uh-oh, what's in it for the black people?
For Ruthie Moore, for Ty Stroger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go. Yeah. Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts, man. Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case. He was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you can put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to send it. We need some different players in the game to handle business. Too many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends, DNA get spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking, trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Let us give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. And I'm concealed carry, I stay with the pipe. For Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is J. Maul Green here. Let me first say thank you to the Mays Jackson Show and Mays Jackson for having me as a guest host today. Today, we are going to dive into a multitude of things that really deal with the black community. And as they say here, what's in it for the black people? And so we're going to talk really about the tangibles that we are fighting for so that we can change the state of black neighborhoods in our city. So we got amazing guests today. We're going to talk about economic development with one of the biggest developers in the state, rated #1 from the Illinois Realtors Association, David Doig will be with us here soon. We got Jorge Newberry coming in to talk about homeownership, who is CEO of a national mortgage company, and we're going to talk about increasing home ownership. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship, and we got Tawana Dennis and the Black Mall, Cassie from the Black Mall, and some amazing guests today that's going to really put in perspective what we need to be fighting for here in the state of Illinois, because we're missing it. I'm going to start with, let me just say, before I even get to my state of Black Chicago, let me just say, I went down to Springfield a couple weeks ago to meet with the Black Caucus, the governor, the Speaker of the House, and to really look at the $80 billion, right? The $80 billion budget the state of Illinois has. Then look at the abysmal percentage of black state contractors, to look at the billions of dollars that's coming down in infrastructure to turn this into a green state, right? When they talk about Joe Biden just moved forward $7.75 billion more in funding for EV charging stations and solar panels and farming, et cetera, to really look at all of the different monies that are coming down the pipeline, and to understand that no one of color, right? We got a very, very, very small percentage of people of color that'll be getting this money. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what we need to do so that we can position ourselves. How do we unify, right, and push for the things that we need to push for? So that's why the title of this broadcast today is Unity in the Black Dollar. So I want y'all to be ready for us today, and please make sure we got the call-in number that's going to come up. Make sure you call in, and we're going to take some callers as well here shortly before our guests start to come in, and we really talk about how do we move the needle. So I want to talk about some news of the day. We had the new Supreme Court nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's been in committee hearings each and every day, defending her record as a federal judge. So she declared she would rule from a position of neutrality, and if she is confirmed neutrality, and if she's confirmed as the black woman on the high court. Jackson responded to Republicans who have questioned whether she is too liberal in her judicial philosophy, saying she tries to understand the people who created this law intended. She says she relies on the words of statute, but also looks to history and practice when the meaning may not be clear. They drilled her on a bunch of questions as she is looking to be the first black woman on the Supreme Court. All right. And we had many of our politicians here who actually went to the committee, Kim Foxx, as well as head of the Black Caucus, Cam Buckner, and others. Another story is we got a casino coming to town. And let me just say on that last point, we're going to talk about what that means for us a little bit later in the show, when we talk about how do we really unify and push for the things that we need to push for, and how they use, symbolism to really how they use symbolism to really give us crumbs, I would say. But I am very proud that we're going to have a black woman on the Supreme Court, but that don't mean that we can't get everything else. We're going to talk about that. we got the casinos. Lori Lightfoot is choosing a casino. She drawed it down to 3 finalists. Bally's Corporation's at the Tribune site, which is $1.74 billion, a $1.74 billion project in a hotel at the current Tribune publishing plant. All right, includes a 3,000-seat theater, an immersive agency exhibition experience, a sports museum, an extension of the Riverwalk pedestrian bridge, a 500-key hotel tower, an outdoor park, music venue, etc. Then we got the Hard Rock at the One Central site, and that's a $1.74 billion project. We got River 78, $1.62 billion project at the portion of the site that's owned by Related Midwest called the 78. So today, the developer that'll be coming in actually was a developer of one of these casino sites that got turned down yesterday. And we're going to talk about what's in it for the black people when we talk about the new casino coming to Chicago. We got billions of dollars that will be poured into building this casino. I know that their plan that was turned down had, 25% that were supposed to be minority investors. And we're going to talk about really these last 3 projects and what it really looks like for us to be involved. When you're talking about construction, the contracts, the jobs, this is a $2 billion investment, and we got to make sure that we get our piece of the pie. All right. And another story is that police filed charges yesterday at one person in connection with a shooting of an 11-year-old boy Monday afternoon, all right, for shooting a 19-year-old Trevor Reed. He's facing several felony gun charges, and they said that he's not charged with shooting the boy, however. But they responded in the 800 block of East 89th Street on a report of a shooting, and an 11-year-old boy was shot in the right leg. So we're going to talk about the state of our communities when it comes to reducing violence today and how all of this intertwined. And my last story of the day is we got free gas coming tomorrow by Willie Wilson. He's giving $1 million in free gas, adding on to his $200,000 investment from last week that caused a lot of chaos throughout the city in lines. And, let me just say shout out to Willie Wilson for his giving and his deed. But on this show, we're going to talk about tangibles, and we're going to talk about how do we really move the needle forward. We need those folks that have successes, and especially the financial success, to be able to move the needle. So whether that is investing in the next generation of entrepreneurs, whether that is teaching and educating them, whether that is buying different businesses. We need to buy some of these gas stations, right, and put entrepreneurs in there to run them. We're going to talk about tangibles, right? What does it look long term so that we can change the state of our communities? Too long they've been, and I'm not saying, Willie Wilson's doing this, but too long they've been buying our power with turkeys. And y'all know what I mean by that. And at the end of the day, we need tangibles, and we need to talk about how do we get our piece of the pie, because we are really, really losing. Okay. So, thank you so much for everybody for joining today. I am so excited to bring you a multitude of issues that we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about solutions more than anything. And I want you to learn from this, whether you are an inspiring entrepreneur, whether you want to become a homeowner, whether you want to just get involved in how we move our city forward. This show is going to be for you. So shout out to Mace Jackson once again. And we are going to go to a break, and then we're going to come back. Are we ready to do that? We're going to go to a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to start diving into some of these issues. So don't go anywhere. Get your coffee, get your tea, get your snack, and make sure that you stay tuned in for the next few hours right here on the Mace Jackson Show early in the morning. Talking to
The Mace Jackson Show will be back after this break. Mace Jackson.
What's in it for the black people?
I want to know, is there an offensive black people list? Who manages it, and do black people have to honor it?
Maze. You're Uncle Tom. That's why you're an offensive. And the reason why you're Uncle Tom is the real story of Uncle Tom. How he worked for his freedom, and then the slave master reneged on him and wouldn't let him get his freedom. So you know what he did? He left. You messing with the church's money. You were smart enough to work your way off, so you offended the white folks, and then you offended the black folks because your ass left, and because they wouldn't. And who manages the left is both black folks and white folks, because if you see in that situation, the black folks is just as mad as the white slave owner that Uncle Tom left.
What happens if you say that and someone gets offended?
You ran off the plantation, brother. That's why you're offended. That's all I got, brother. Keep being offensive.
Thank you.
Mays Jackson.
No, no, ooh. One time, no, no.
Drop top cruising, old school music, old school juicy. Gotta make my way to you. Pull up on that ass like, ooh. I wanna take you to New York, Chicago, LA, Houston, down all over London, Paris, the A, the Bay, everywhere. I'll take you downtown. Show you all the bad things in life. I wanna take you downtown. Show you all the bad things in life. I wanna take you down. I wanna take you down. I wanna take you downtown. Show you all the bad things in life. I wanna take you downtown. Show you all the bad things in life.
Lake Shore, I made sure to make sure, yeah, that my place yours, yeah. 28th floor, yeah, I had 8 thoughts, yeah, all 8 yours, yeah, cake for dessert, but I ate yours.
I wanna take you to New York, Chicago, LA, Houston, down all over London, Paris, the A, the Bay, everywhere. Fly all over. Your last boy couldn't get what you asked for. Your last boy didn't even know. I'm gonna take you downtown, girl. Show you all the bad things in life. I wanna take you downtown. Show you all the bad things in life. I wanna take you down. 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 I wanna take you downtown. Show you all the bad things in life. I wanna take you downtown. Show you all the bad things in life.
If you're a business professional, have you ever wanted to multitask on your way to an important meeting instead of navigating through traffic? Fellowship Fleet Limousine and Bus Company is your solution for chauffeured ground transportation. Our company provides sedans, SUVs, stretch limousines, vans, and buses for corporate travel, airport transfers, and group shuttles. If you're a corporate travel manager, individual business professional, event or meeting planner, relax. Let us take the wheel. Visit fellowshipfleet.com to book right now. And now, traffic and weather.
Yo, who said devotion had to be sad? Yo, check this out. The Lord is my shepherd, I want. He's making me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restored my soul. God's gonna turn it around.
Come all the way with me.
Good morning. What's in it for the Black People Media family? The time is now 6:27. I'm Riis the Ruler with your Chicagoland area traffic and weather report.
As we head over to the Kennedy, O'Hare to the Loop will be 21 minutes. Outbound to O'Hare, 17 minutes. On the Edens, it's 28 minutes in both directions, while the Eisenhower, Thorndale to the Loop, will be 31 minutes, 28 minutes to Thorndale. On the Stevenson from I-355 to the Dan Ryan will be 35 minutes. Outbound will be 32. The Bishop Ford, I-80 to the Dan Ryan, 33 minutes, 29 minutes to I-80. While the Dan Ryan is 16 minutes to the Loop, 12 minutes to 95th. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, south will be 7 minutes and 8 minutes north. Today's weather, it is currently 52 and cloudy. Today will be a high of 57 with a low of 46. I'm Riis the Ruler. Now back to the Maze Jackson Show.
All right. We're back. Thank you, Riis the Ruler. Let me. First of all, welcome back. All right, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show in the morning. What's in it for the Black People Media? We're gonna go to real quick a story that I think has hit the airwaves quite a bit over the last few days, been all over social media, and that's going to really go into our next discussion. And it's about Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is being sued, tied to a complaint that the bank denied more than half of all black refinancing applicants in 2020, a far higher rate than any other bank, according to a lawsuit filed in federal court Friday. All right. And Mr. Braxton claims that the bank's lending algorithms have amplified the U.S. financial system's historically racist treatment of black customers. Okay. All right. So this is this brings me back to Chase. Right. And, you guys know about our fight with Chase Bank and all of these institutions. And we are in a situation where these bank institutions that we keep putting our dollars in are redlining our communities. Chase Bank was only lending to black communities in Chicago 1.9% of the time. And we put together a movement, right, to shut down over 35 branches constantly. I want to give a shout out to all of my team members who constantly was with us every single day, shutting down branches to send a message to Chase. They said, J. Maul, you were crazy, right, for going out and thinking that the biggest financial institution with a $3 trillion market cap is going to pay attention to you because they've done wrong in our community. So we had to get gangster. We went into those branches. I got banned from every Chase Bank in America. If you didn't know, I am still banned from every Chase Bank in America. But I've been banned, and I've been banned from better places. And at the end of the day, we made sure that we sent a message to Chase to let them know that they were not going to do this to our communities any longer. And I asked for $1 billion, right, back in whether in loans and grants and jobs, et cetera. And we were able to get that. And they didn't unban me after they came forward. Now, we really don't trust Chase, and I still don't trust Chase to this day. And I still would never put my money into a Chase Bank or Wells Fargo. We got to start to understand, especially because we don't have any more black institutions, financial institutions. A lot of them have closed or been bought out. We got to understand that we can't fund our own oppression. And if we're going to put our money in the institution, we must hold them accountable, or we must stop banking with these institutions. And these bigger bank institutions who have the ability to really make an impact on neighborhoods. Chase Bank was lending probably 3 loans in Chatham a year. Or just to put in perspective, they gave Inglewood $1 million in home loans since 2012 over like a 6-7 year period. And in that same 6-7 year period, they gave Lincoln Park $1 billion, right, in home loans. So you can see the difference there, and that's what they're saying is happening in Wells Fargo as well. So what we did was we came together and we put together an agency that will help folks become homeowners, right? And it's called My Turn to Own. So every day, my team, headed up by my chief of staff, Don Amici. What's up, Don Amici? Good morning, man.
Good morning. Good to be here. Good to be here.
You got up this morning, man. You're looking good, man.
Hey, listen, the older folks will say it's better to be seen than to be viewed.
Hey, good for you, man. Thanks for being here. So what we do each and every day is we turn folks into homeowners, and we start from A to Z. All right, so we take them from A to Z. So if they got credit problems, if they got tax problems, if they got what other problem? Down payment assistance. What other problems?
down payment assistance. But let me tell you, a big key that I've noticed that we specialize in that others may not is we not only educate, but we motivate our people.
There you go.
We
educate.
do. And it's very tough to live in a society where we continue to be affected by systematic oppression, and we're so tapped out that we don't even see light at the end of the tunnel.
There you go.
So what I love so much about My Turn to Own is we hold your hand from the beginning all the way to the end with vetted individuals that's been in the industries for eons and eons of years,
right,
to help you cross that finish line.
Right. All right. So all the way from the beginning, guys. I mean, we educate. We got Wealthy Wednesdays on Wednesday.
So one thing that caught your attention, and I know you don't like talking about yourself. I'll do it. So one thing that we noticed in a few months that we've been in existence is we got about $5 million in buying power. But the problem that we've noticed is we've only had one man to have the opportunity to have buying power, and that's a problem. And with that being said, Mr. Green brought it to our attention. He said, hey man, we got to figure out what's going on with the men and make sure that the men is back in the household. So that's why we kicked off Man on a Mission Mondays. It's bigger than just barbershop talk, but it's an opportunity to talk about solutions. And we do it every Monday around the city of Chicago, and hopefully soon we'll take it from state to state.
Yeah, and so that was so important to me because when I look at the foreclosure rates, and let's just first say, 70-80% of households in urban communities are led by Black women. Yeah. And let me firmly say that cannot continue, or we are not, we're doing an injustice to the next generations.
Yeah.
We must rebuild the family structure and rebuild some cultural foundation. We're going to talk about that later. But most importantly, men have to be a part of the ownership process and start to buy homes and be the entrepreneurs of today, et cetera, so that we can really take back our communities and we can lower violence and have better youth, right? Yeah. Coming out of these neighborhoods. So we started Man on a Mission Mondays because out of the millions that we were helping folks get in mortgages, one was a man. And that just wasn't that just was not okay. So we had to change that fact and say, all right, let's go out and go get them, right, wherever they are. Let's have the open dialogue, right? You might got child support, you might got background, you might have many different things.
Let's put it on the table.
Yeah, let's put it on the table
and find solutions.
And I'm gonna help you out through it and help you become a homeowner so that we can start building generational wealth in these communities. This is the number one way, right, to build wealth in America, and it's real estate. Yeah. We cannot continue to be at the bottom when it comes to home ownership. Yeah. We're in we're at the high 30 percentile range, probably 40% in home ownership in Black communities, where 45% in Latino, 75% in white communities.
And that's by design.
It is.
And this is one thing that I want to say, and I'm gonna give it right back to you, is just as though they're intentional, we need to be just as intentional.
Just as intentional.
When we talk about the Black Wall Street is just one of the many examples of us succeeding but being attacked. Yeah. So when we talk about really, and this is what I do want to say. First of all, I would do an injustice to say that Black people, the ownership, entrepreneurship has not been a norm for the Black people, and we need to wake up. No, we've always been owners and entrepreneurs. When you talk about what's the real problem that we're having is we continue to be attacked. Yeah. That's the problem, because the Black Wall Street was thriving. Right. If you was to convert those, what was worth then converted to what is worth now, it's almost worth $30 million. Right. You know what I'm saying? It was thriving.
Yep.
Another example, I was listening to Secretary of HUD, Marsha Fudge, and she stated that 95% of appraisers are Caucasian.
Yep.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
When
Big
you
problem.
got the key holders to your wealth, because the appraisers come in and say what the property is worth.
And we always have looked at several situations where, you know, folks have put in white appraisers to sit in, and then they got their houses appraised at a higher rate.
And that's the problem. Now we got to play the game. You force us to come up with strategic tactics to overcome the intentional profiling and the racial, just buffoonery and shenanigans that you put in place. But I'm going to go a step further, and then I'm going to pass it back on. I don't know if anybody ever looked at the story of Willa and Charles Bruce. Willa and Charles Bruce, and this was recent. This is 2021,
right?
And this was about Manhattan Beach. In I think 1912, they purchased a piece of Manhattan Beach, and I think it was like $1,200 or something of that nature.
Right.
It was taken from them.
Wow.
This is what I'm talking about protection.
Yeah.
Those in power pushed them out. He owned it. He paid cash for it. It was his. The point that I'm making is then he paid about $1,200. Now, you know how much a property is going for in Manhattan Beach? $20 million and up. $20 million and up. So when you talk about there's money in owning the land, $1,500 or $1,200 in today's time, what if his offspring would have still owned that? You see how the tables turn.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So not only that, I think they said now it'd be worth like $75 million or something of that nature. But that's a problem that we deal on the day-to-day basis.
And we got to stop allowing it. You know, and that's why this show is called Unity and the Black Dollar. We got to start to look at all of the systems and that have been put in place, right, to hurt us.
Yeah.
All of the financial institutions that are in place to hurt us. And we got to know how to fight back. It is no reason. Let me just say, you know, it is when you look at when I looked at Chase Bank, we were fighting Chase Bank, and they were saying, okay, well, maybe it's because of the default rates. Well, we looked at the default rates in the black community compared to the white community, and they were virtually the same, okay?
Wow.
So there was no evidence to show that if I lend the black people that somehow we won't get our money back. There was no type of evidence. The default rates was exactly the same as the white communities.
Yeah.
Black communities, we are hardworking people. Y'all already know. My mama, grandmama, all of them have worked jobs 30, 40 years. Y'all know they know how to keep a job and keep those bills paid. So at the end of the day, we got to start pushing away the BS that they push on us. And we got to start to understand that if you won't lend to us, we will not put our money in these institutions. We got to stop financing our own oppression. So what I want to do, though, is we're going to, and if you callers, if you want to call in, make sure you call in at 872-259-7474. That's 872-259-7474. And I want to bring up our next guest. So we're going to go ahead and get him ready, we're going to talk about home ownership, and he's building many homes, 1,000 homes. And, you know, when we fought Chase Bank, you know, they committed $1 billion to start pouring back into the communities. And they gave them a couple $1 million to build 1,000 brand new homes in the black community after our fight, too. So we're going to talk about that and talk about economic development and how we are to really progress in urban communities so that we can change the state of our communities. We're going to bring You got something real quick?
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are we ready to be uncomfortable for revolution, for change?
We're going to be answering that question
All right, good
the
stuff.
whole show.
Good stuff.
Y'all remember that question. We'll be right back. Let's get David Doig in right now.
The Mays Jackson Show will be back after this break. Mays Jackson.
What's up, Chicago? This is your man, Mays Jackson, host of the Mays Jackson Show. You hear me every single day ask the question, what's in it for the black people? Well, finally, y'all, we've got an answer, and it's called the Black People First Party. Meet us every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at TP, located at 5401 South Wentworth, Unit 17E. That's in the mall at the 55th and the Dan Ryan. And you join us every Saturday where we are taking our politics black. We'll teach you everything you need to know about the game, from how to collect a petition, to how to knock on a door, to even how to become the next mayor of the city of Chicago. That's right, y'all. It is the Black People First Party. Meet us every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at TP, located at 5401 South Wentworth in the mall at 55th and the Dan Ryan. And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Mays said. This is a black people thing you wouldn't even understand.
Mays Jackson.
If I gave you my love, I tell you what I do. I'd expect a whole lot of love out of you. You got to treat me good, and I'll be good to you. There's a whole lot of things you and I could do, baby.
All right, we are back right here on What's in It for the Black People Media. Thank you for joining us this morning. We've been talking about so far, how do we, and we want to welcome WBGX as well, all the listeners who are listening in. And we've been talking about economics in these communities, starting with increasing the home ownership rate. And we got to talk about economic development. And who better for me to bring in and talk about economic development but the number one developer in the state of Illinois. He's the president of Chicago Neighborhood Initiatives, a nonprofit developer who built some of, everything. I mean, Bronzeville, Mariano's, Whole Foods, and Inglewood, and everything in Pullman. Walmart, Gotham Greens, everything. This man right here for the last decade has poured all of his time into investments into urban communities to create jobs, none other than David Doy. Good morning, man.
Thanks, J-Mo. Good to be here. I'm just surprised to see you up and running this morning.
I'm not an early bird, y'all, so everybody's shocked. But, I had my clothes laid out on the bed, as Riis would say.
I don't think you took them off.
I don't think I took I slept in these and got up and hurried up and got down here. I want to first say thank you for all your work over the years. And I want you really to start back at the story of how you brought the Walmart to Pullman that really spurred all the development and the community benefits agreement to create the jobs, et cetera. Come a little bit closer from me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, our work started probably 10, 12 years ago. We were part of a local bank, Park National, and we purchased the old Ryerson Steel site, 200 acres, one of the biggest contiguous pieces of property in the city, right off the Bishop Ford at 111th. And early on, we decided, maybe unlike some developers, we didn't have a plan. We knew it was important land. We knew it needed to be redeveloped. Ryerson had left years ago, was vacant.
Right.
And so we took a full year and basically just listened to the community.
Okay.
We went to all the block clubs, church groups, civic organizations, and at that time, this is 2009, 2010. We were in the middle of a recession.
Okay.
And so the first issue that the community identified was the food desert.
Right.
We were the largest food desert in the city.
Right.
People had to go to the suburbs or to Hyde Park to get a bag of groceries.
Right.
So that was the first issue. Second was jobs. This was at the height of the recession back in 2009, and the area had already suffered from significant job loss when the steel industry left in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
That was compounded by the recession, so the need for jobs. The third was the need for indoor recreation, safe, quality indoor recreation space. And then the third was around housing, affordable housing. So with those kind of four principles, we started putting together plans, and we literally went to every grocery store you can imagine. I mean, you know, we Jewels and you know, Costco, and everybody, you know, said, we're not interested.
Right.
I mean, it's we're lucky to survive.
And this site is right off of 111th Street, off of the Bishop Ford.
Yeah, and Walmart, you know, was literally the last call we made.
Okay.
And you know, the irony of Walmart and, you know, some of their anti-union kind of practices coming back into the community where the American labor movement started in Pullman. So it was a bit of irony. But Walmart stepped up and said, you know, we realized we basically saturated rural and suburban America. I mean, they have tapped out every market, everywhere. And so they said, you know, we want to take a run at coming into large urban areas.
And you built the first Walmart in the city of Chicago, right?
We were the second one. The first one was on the west side, but then they closed the door.
Oh, they closed on Walmart.
After the one in Austin went in, they closed the door. And so Walmart said, you know, we believe there's a strong market, particularly on the south side. And so, you know, we worked with them over about a year and got them to do a community benefits agreement. They'd never done a community benefits agreement.
Right.
A couple of key elements to that. They agreed to $1.50 more than the minimum wage, which is, you know, you go there now, people are making $15, $16 an hour.
Right.
They agreed to hire 80% of all of the new employees from the 60628 from our zip code, which they did. And again, if you go there today, you know, it's folks from the community that are working there. They agreed to a $25 million philanthropic. And they honored that. So we were able to leverage, you know, that development to get Walmart to open a store, and the store does well. You know, the community owns the store. I mean, we were the only Walmart that wasn't looted during the civil unrest, and that's because the community stood up and said, we're not going to allow that.
Right.
And so literally community residents were on 111th and Doty Road, and as the protesters came, they pushed them back. And
I was trying to get in there. Try to see what Walmart had to offer in Pullman, you know what I'm saying? Right. But, you know, what I like about that is I do love community benefits agreements. We need more of these for developers. And while I'm not the biggest Walmart fan, and many people aren't, they did commit to making sure that 80% were from that community, and they made good on that commitment. So that is a part of, you know, what we also must demand when they are bringing development in these neighborhoods, that we get them to agree to things that benefit the community. Majority of the folks need to be hired from the community, right?
Yeah, we've done that on every one of our projects. So
every project. We've
developed the Method Soap Factory.
Right.
They did a community benefits agreement, the Whole Foods Distribution Center, the new Amazon. All of those have community benefits agreements, and there are significant local hiring requirements. You know, we believe in union labor, and so you know, these are all built with union labor. We believe in local hiring.
Right.
So we're very intentional about making sure that, you know, as we bring development, that the community benefits and particularly the residents are the beneficiaries of these improvements and that investment.
And let's talk about, they're a nonprofit developer, right? So you guys are not in it to make money. Right?
No, we've got to pay the bills and keep the lights on. But in terms of you know, what we do with the money that we do get on projects is turn around and just put it into new projects. So it gives us the ability to expand and continue to grow our footprint.
So with Pullman, if you've been off the 111th, you got a Walmart. You got a new Culver's that you just built. You got Potbelly's and Lexington Betty over there.
Lexington Betty's is taking the whole thing now.
Lexington Betty is taking the whole spot right there on 111th. Shout out to Dominique. You got Gotham Greens. You got the Whole Foods Distribution Center. You got the new Amazon that you just built. You got the Pullman Community Center, right? What I'm missing? Method Soap Factory, SC Johnson Manufacturing. What am I missing?
Oh, you know, we've done we did an artist housing project,
right?
You know, on Langley, we've done
artist housing,
a lot of rehabs of Pullman row homes. So, all told in the last 10 years, it's been about $500 million of investment.
And development.
Yeah.
So $500 million in investment. How many jobs you say you've created?
Probably 1,700 jobs.
1,700 jobs. What have you seen with all of this development in Pullman? What have you seen in that area now?
Well, yeah, I think we've started now to look at some of the other social indices. So things like crime is down. You've had significant reduction in homicides. You've seen families making more than $100,000. That's increased. We've seen population actually increase for the first time in 50 years. Unemployment is down. The poverty rate is down. We've got great schools. We got Poe Elementary. We got Pullman Elementary. We've got the best, high school on the south side, Gwendolyn Brooks.
Okay.
And so we've got a lot of great options. I think the struggle for the far south side is because we're so far from downtown. People we're not on the radar screen all the time, and so our struggle is changing that perception.
Yeah. So what do you see in regards to our neighborhoods all across the city? What do you hope for over the next decade that would help, in your view, decrease violence, decrease unemployment rate, increase jobs, stuff that you've been working on? What do you want to see?
Well, you definitely need to continue to create jobs. That's fundamental in any kind of economic development strategy. But what I'm becoming more and more convinced of is if we're going to see long-term sustainable redevelopment, not just like a project or even a commercial strip, but if it's really going to be comprehensive, you've got to focus on housing and repopulation. I think you were touching on this a little earlier this morning, but there's a reason why the retail in our communities often suffers, and it's not necessarily because we can't get the quality retailers. It's because we don't have the density.
Right.
You look at the far south side. We've lost an entire ward.
Yeah,
60,000 people. We've lost 60,000 people on the far south side in the last 10 years.
Yep.
And now we're losing. The 34th ward is moving north.
Yep.
And so how can you sustain quality retail? How can you sustain quality schools?
Yeah. How
can you sustain civic organizations like churches and block clubs and all of the stuff that makes a community whole when you continue to lose population? So for me, the biggest issue right now is getting the neighborhoods rebuilt with new housing, and that accomplishes three things. One is it provides affordable housing, right? And so when we're talking about building houses and selling houses at 200 to 250, 300,000, that's affordable for people making $60,000, $70,000 a year.
Exactly.
And so you've got the issue of affordable housing. Secondly, it provides opportunities for wealth building. You talked about that. You buy a house, you're going to build wealth, you're going to create equity. And then third, it repopulates.
Right.
So you get people coming back, and then I point to the area, around like the stadium.
Right.
And I'm old enough to remember when, people wouldn't go out to the stadium. They would never walk out there.
Right.
And, you go to a Bulls game and, you worry about whether your car's going to be there when you come back. And so that's changed now. But a lot of that has been driven by repopulating that area, new housing going in, more density. And now you've got a Pete's at Western and Madison. You got new retail restaurants. All of that stuff happened. The retail follows the rooftops.
So how do you, and this is what's in it for the black people. So how do you make sure, first of all, what's the percentage of black people in the area, in Pullman?
In Pullman, it's, overall, Pullman's probably 80% African-American.
80% African-American. David also works only with vast majority African-American business owners, right? So black business owners. He also has a microfinance group called Greenwood Archer. Now, we just talked about Black Wall Street. That is actually the street name.
That's the cross streets in Tulsa where Black Wall Street was.
Right. So it's the cross street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So he got a finance group that funds black entrepreneurs to stay in Pullman. So how do you, with all of this development, because what people see, right? People see all this development and they think gentrification. How have you built up Pullman but kept the black businesses and the black folks in the neighborhood at the same time?
Yeah, I think gentrification's an issue, no doubt. I think what's a little different maybe on the far south side is, we're not necessarily in the path of development. If you look at where gentrification is happening in Chicago, it tends to radiate out from the core.
Okay.
So those communities that are closer into the loop are the ones where you're seeing
where they want it, right?
Yeah, and so the fact that we're 13 miles from downtown and it's, we're not in the path of development. So, I often say gentrification is an issue, but our bigger issue is depopulation.
Right.
So what we're doing, with all of our developments now, we're working on the Michael Riis Hospital site is, these are big, transformative, mega developments, but we're seeding small businesses. So you mentioned Lexington Betty. I mean, we kind of embraced Dominique a few years ago, helped her get some financing, helped her grow. We've done that with a number of businesses. Majani, which was one of our food hall tenants. He's expanding. He's opened a commissary, and so we've invested in him.
I'm trying to go vegan. Majani trying to get me to go vegan.
So, what we want to do is use these opportunities for redevelopment to also spur small business development for Black-owned businesses.
How many small businesses would you say you've helped
we've probably
give money
done
to?
Over 200.
Over 200.
We've deployed over $5 million worth of loans in the last 6-7 years.
All right, so over $5 million, and majority Black or all Black?
80% Black.
80% Black. All right, to Black entrepreneurs over the last 6-7 years. So now. And I want to get back to your point of gentrification. Basically, white folks don't want to come that far south.
Well, that might be true. I'm not going to deny that, but I think there's also a situation where the far south side was built as a working blue collar community, and so the housing stock doesn't really lend itself to gentrification. I mean, typically where gentrification happens is where you've got large multifamily buildings that go from apartments to condos. They convert them, or you've got like 2 flats or 3 flats where people are basically deconverting them from 3 units to 1 unit or 2 units to 1 unit. We don't have a lot of those on the far south side in Pullman, Roseland, West Pullman.
So that's why a majority stay Black.
Yeah, and it's a homeowner community, and so also you don't see gentrification where you have predominantly homeowners.
Yeah,
gentrification happens where there's a high percentage of renters. That then the investors will come in, buy those rental properties, convert them to, high-end condos or something like that.
Right.
And so I don't see gentrification as, a significant pressure yet. I mean, that can change 10 years from now. But my point is, now's the time to be buying and building equity so that when development happens and when appreciation happens, you're there to benefit from it.
Yeah. So the in Pullman, you also rehabbing all of the Pullman row houses. How much are they going for?
So we buy and sell Pullman row houses. Typically our homes sell for like $130,000, $140,000, which is like incredibly affordable.
$140,000. Right.
Yeah. You actually we sold one a few months ago. I think it was $125,000.
Right.
Single, teacher's aide, had a local school. Single mom, 2 kids, and she's paying $550 total a month.
$550 a month.
Yeah.
In Pullman.
Yeah. With that's PITI. That's that's principal, interest, taxes, and we're at a tax free because it's a historic district, so you get a tax freeze.
It's tax freeze
tax freeze. Yeah. So the tax is in $1,200 a year.
Right.
And when you figure her total payment $550. I mean, she's paying half of what she was paying in rent.
Right.
And she's a homeowner.
Right. That's nice. So, and why I bring David on this is because, we always talk about gentrification, right? And David has been a nonprofit developer that is focused on Black communities and Black entrepreneurs and Black jobs for the majority of his investment. And when we look at all of the neighborhoods throughout the city, we have to start to look at what works and what keeps people in these communities, right? And one of those keys, like he said, and that's what we do every day, is home ownership, right? We got to have folks to own homes, right? Then we repopulate the area. I talked to J.B. Pritzker about this last week, right? And I told him, I said, listen, Governor, if you want to make a real impact, you need to be putting hundreds of millions of dollars into grants for these folks in these neighborhoods that have down payment and closing cost assistance, knowing they've been redlined, knowing they've been oppressed for so many years. We need some support, right? That's how you sustain neighborhoods. Now, if I tell them, I'll bring the homeowners in. That's what we do. We got thousands of homeowners in our program. And we just need that type of assistance because we don't have that down payment money.
Right. No, that's absolutely spot on. I think, you know, when you look at the fact that the city of Chicago owns 15,000 vacant lots, 15,000,
Crazy.
largest landowner in the city, and most of those are, you know, on the south and west side.
Yeah.
And then you look at, there's probably another 10 to 15,000 tax delinquent
Right.
Vacant lots. I mean, it's a huge pool of vacant land.
Yeah.
And we've got to get serious about rebuilding homes on those vacant lots. We're working on the west side with Lawndale Christian now, and our partner United Power.
Right.
You mentioned the money from Chase. They've helped. You know, they gave us $2.5 million to seed.
I'm still bad for Chase. You think you can make a phone call?
No, your advocacy was it was fundamental in getting them to move on that. But we're starting with the first 100 lots in about a month. We're going to start building
brand new homes.
Brand new homes. We've got two models. We've got a manufactured house by a local group called Connects, and then we have a stick built. These are all 1,500 square foot house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath houses, brand new. And what we've been able to do is get the city to basically pay for the site costs, which is you know, a typical house. The site costs alone are $70,000-$80,000.
Right.
We strip that out, and then we're able to sell the house for like $220,000, $230,000.
Right.
And we've been able to get, you know, working with the state, we've been able to get $10 million of down payment assistance. So
right.
$30,000 a house. So that $230,000 house, now you get a mortgage for, you know, $190,000.
Yeah, that down payment assistance is going to be.
And you walk in, these houses are appraising at $280,000, $290,000. You walk in the door with $100,000 of equity.
Yeah.
Right in the front door. I mean,
right.
it's amazing. It's the best deal going.
That's huge.
And so we're starting over by Douglas Park, just west of Douglas, on Albany and Sawyer and Troy, some of those.
So how do we make sure in these homes, we're talking about Lawndale, you guys built a couple in Lawndale already, how we make sure in these homes that black folks in these neighborhoods can be able to and we're gonna help them get prepared, but how do we make sure that they get a piece of the pie?
Yeah, so I mean, it starts with marketing, right? So we're gonna, you know, once we get in the ground and start doing this, we're gonna have models. We're gonna do working with you know, My Turn to Own and others. We're gonna be able to, you know, do tours, show people. You know, I mean, these are beautiful homes, nicely appointed. You know, like first class appliances. All
and you sold one to you guys already sold a couple to black people already.
Oh
right?
yeah, we've got two at 16th and Avers.
Both of them were sold.
Yep.
I believe one of them was a story of a guy that was previously incarcerated or something.
Yeah.
I remember somebody telling me something about it.
Yeah, no, we've got a couple of new homeowners. You know, again, those homes, you know, they sold for, you know, like $250,000, and you know, they're worth at least $300,000 now. So so you're walking in the door with equity. I think you know, so it starts with the marketing, and then, as you said, the key is getting people pre-qualified. So it's like, get ready. Because it's coming, and the key is going to be having home buyers that are ready to move when these homes are available. And so pre-qualifying them, working on, you know, credit and down payment assistance, all those kind of things are critical in getting people ready. Thankfully, in Lawndale, we have a waiting list now. We have a buyer pool of 50, 60 people, you know, that we've been working with and that Lawndale's been working with to get ready. So we're going to be able to crank these first 100 out, sell them, and keep moving. And so we've got plans to do 1,000 units on the west side.
Yeah.
And then what we want to do next year is bring this to the far south side. So we're working with Salem, with Reverend Meeks. He's got a huge home buyer pool. He you know, he wants to see people move. Nothing against the south suburbs, but, you know, come on back to the city.
There you go.
You know.
There you go. We got to incentivize it.
Right.
And the fact that you can have $30,000 in down payment and closing costs, we need y'all folks back in from the suburbs to come back into the city of Chicago.
Taxes are a lot less.
Way a lot less.
You got better schools.
Right.
You got public transportation.
Yeah.
And you're closer to where the jobs are.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that that is key. And what are you guys doing with all the state is pouring down billions in green money? So what are you guys doing to make these homes green? Because I already know.
We're putting in EV chargers in these homes, or at least we're wiring them for that. We're actually not putting the charger itself in, but we're making them charger ready.
Okay.
And so there'll be that, and then solar, right? So solar is you know, it is a great option for home buyers.
Yeah.
You know, the systems now have advanced to the point where they make economic sense.
Right.
And it's not going to cover your whole electric bill, but it can supplement, definitely supplement kind of some of these electric costs.
Right.
We're making the homes, very energy efficient,
Good.
putting in, energy saver appliances and furnaces, and they're brand new. So they're, these are beautiful, well-built, well-appointed homes.
All right, man, that is great. So when we talk about all these different things, guys, one of the big things is that you talked about is being prepared, right? When I fought Chase Bank, and we went in those branches every day and fought for that $1 billion, and then they poured the $1 billion, well, claim that they're giving $1 billion back. They gave a couple million to you, David, right? They gave how much did Chase give y'all for these new homes?
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million.
Right. So we've been raising part of what we try to do, and this goes to keeping the cost down, is we want to have our own construction fund.
Right.
I don't want to be borrowing, at 7-8% from the banks. Nothing against the banks, but we'd rather have our own fund and then be able to do 0%. So if we raise our own money, we've raised $6 million now to basically, $12 million to build these homes.
Right.
And that'll allow us to not have to charge any construction interest, which will pass through the home buyer.
Right.
So we don't have to put construction interest on these homes, which, on a $200,000 house, you figure it's going to be 6 months. You're talking $4,000 or $5,000 just in interest.
Right. So I hope y'all listening, because these new homes are coming to the market, and their first set of homes already went to black home buyers. So all those folks who want to see who they going to, come get them. You got $30,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance. You're going to have solar panels that will increase, solar increases the equity of the home. And one thing that I said after Chase said, we're giving $1 billion over these next 5 years, was that I got to go get the folks ready, right? We can't be discouraged. We can't believe that we can't do this. We are in a position where we can take control of these neighborhoods with home ownership. So, David, talk about this real quick. Who are you grooming? And this is from Mays Jackson. Who are you grooming to take your place? And I ain't throw him on the spot because he the only white guy in his company.
Right. No,
he the token white guy.
right. No, so we partner with black developers. We partnered with when we did the Marianas in Bronzeville. We worked with John Bonds from Safeway.
Right.
We partnered with Leon Walker on the Whole Foods in Englewood. We're now partnering with Lee Reed, who's Revere Properties, 47th and King Drive. I mentioned so part of what we want to do is, and we're working with Chicago Trend, Lanier Richardson and his group in Pullman now. So part of what we want to do is mentor emerging black developers, provide them with opportunities for joint venturing, great wealth opportunities. So, I think there's a great young stable of black developers in Chicago, emerging developers, and we want to continue that. In terms of, taking my place, we've had a lot of great young talent kind of come through CNI. Sierra Boatwright now.
That was my favorite.
Sierra was on the course, but
Sierra was my favorite. And she went and took a job with a Clayco.
Right. So that's great. But
and you got a new black. Your second in command is a black woman.
Yeah, Kimberly Morris. Kimberly joined about 6 months ago, and so we've got a great talent pool. We've got a lot of young people that are project managers that are learning the business, learning how to do this, that will be the next generation of developers.
Okay. So speaking of black developers, how do we build black developers to do what you're doing?
Well, part of it is, I think, giving them giving them a portfolio, a track record. I mean, that's the first thing that people want to know, whether you go to the banks or investors, it's like, well, what have you done?
Right.
And so being able to give them a portfolio and say, oh yeah, we've done commercial, we've done industrial, we've done residential.
So you'll pull in black developers on your projects to basically help them with the portfolio.
Yeah, help grow portfolio and then create wealth, right? I mean, it's like, when you're in the in the project, not only do you get the regular kind of developer fees, but you share in the upside.
Okay.
And so when you go to sell a property, there's a distribution, and if you're part of the equity on the ownership, you share in that distribution.
So what's your advice to black developers then who want to start up, do development in their neighborhoods similar to Pullman?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are different strategies, and part of this is like you want to diversify. So for us, it's we have a couple different models. We do development just for fees. So we're a fee developer. So we're working on the west side now, building a new community center in North Austin.
Right.
And that project, we're not an equity investor. We don't have an ownership. We're just doing it basically for a developer fee. In Pullman and now in Roseland, in Bronzeville, we'll take an equity position and participate. We'll take more risk,
right?
But the upside hopefully will be more significant. So I think when you're looking, when black developers are looking, I think that same kind of model where you need the developer fees to keep the lights on and keep getting the income coming in, but also taking a little more risk on some of these kind of more opportunistic developments where you take an ownership role. If you oftentimes in development the payouts are choppy,
right,
lumpy, right?
Okay.
So you've got to be able to bridge what could be a couple of years. I mean, when you start these projects, we've been working on the Brownsville Lakefront project for 4 years,
right?
Nobody's made a nickel yet.
Right.
I mean, there's been no kind of return on investment, and so you have to have some income to be able to sustain those kind of periods when you're doing the pre-development and you're spending the money on putting the plans together and paying the architects and all those kind of things. So I typically recommend having kind of a two-part strategy where you do some fee development, keep the lights on, and then also do some more at-risk development.
Okay. How many black millionaires have you helped create?
Oh, I don't
David?
know. I don't know.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Are you there yet, Jamal? I'll put you right back at you.
All right, guys. With this, I think that it was important for us to really understand, right, when we talk about development in these communities and what's coming to the city of Chicago, not only in home ownership, but we need black developers. We need black developers that have a community-centered mindset that comes into these neighborhoods, can see what the problem is, and develop in these neighborhoods and bring in different companies that will sign community benefits agreements so that we can create jobs. We have the opportunity to do this all across the city of Chicago, and that's what I want to see. And we need a fund. Somebody needs to put together a fund, right, for black developers so that they can start up. Now, let me question. Last question, David. May said, who has become wealthy?
Well, I mean, I think on most of our projects, we've been successful. I'm not trying to out anybody here,
right?
But certainly, you mentioned John Bonds on the Marianos. I mentioned Leon. Leon, now is doing great. I mean, he's really
Leon Walker.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so again, through these partnerships, hopefully we're creating opportunities and then folks have their own business plans and can use that capital however they want to reinvest.
Okay. All right, guys. David got to go, but I hope that you learned something today, and we're gonna get back into the discussion and talk about economic development and home ownership and what's in it for the black people. How do we make sure that we maximize and unify so that we can push forward what's needed in our communities going forward, no matter who's the leader. So I ain't gonna put you on the spot with saying who you do you like on there, but I don't think anybody do. All right, y'all, we'll be right back in 2 seconds.
The Mays Jackson Show will be back after this break.
Broken screen, crashed system. Are you in need of spyware or virus removal from your computer? Well, contact RPC Computer Repair in South Shore and let us help you with all your computer repair services and print needs. Need office or print production services, copies, scans, fax, or even notary service? Then stop by and support RPC Computer Repair and Print Shop located 1741 East 71st Street in the 71st Street corridor, newly revitalized South Shore areas, and let RPC be your one-stop shop, where we believe RPC is your PC. RPC Computer Repair is also a UPS access point where you can drop off and pick up your important packages. So let RPC be of service to you. Call RPC Computer Monday through Saturday Saturday, 8 a.m. through 6 p.m. at 773-966-4457. That's 773-966-4457. Visit RPC at rpccomputeringinc.com for more information.
Steve Stanton.
I've never been lucky at love, no never. I've never been good at holding on. A heart broken so many pieces, but I'll just keep on moving on because I'll never give up on love, no never, no never, and I'll never give up on trust, whatever come what may. All that I wanna say, that true love's gonna come my way. Alright, I'm looking for a lover for me. Could you be the one for me? Yeah, alright. Just looking for forever for me. For me. See, I never ever thought that I could love again. I never ever thought that I could ever win. But don't ever give up, no, and don't ever give in. See, I pray that true love finds me in the end. I'll never give up on love, I will never. And I'll never know trust. I will never. Looking for a lover for me. See, I'm looking for a lover for me. Yeah, and it's alright. Looking for forever. I'm looking for forever for me. Every night, hey, make love to her right. Oh, find her glad she's the only one. She's the only one. I'm gonna treat her like mine. See, I'm gonna give her everything. Whatever she wants, plus a 10-carat diamond ring. Baby. Alright. Woo. I'm looking for a lover for me. Looking for a lover. Could it be you? And it's baby, it's alright. Looking for forever for me. I'm looking for forever for me. Hey, looking for a lover for me. I'm looking, still looking. And it's alright. Looking for forever for forever. For me.
Back to the Maze Jackson Show. You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
Church, if you ain't trying to help us, don't even try to be around and can't protect us. We see the lies now of the politicians. We need money and no symbolism. It's Maze and Riis and Ruthie and Ty, explaining how we all come from God, giving us tools to beat the odds. If we united, our movement gon' stop. If they ain't trying to help us, they ain't trying to do nothing. We gotta do something. We gotta stop running. it's time to confront the problem. Really, you expect, you oppressed, it's all wrong.
Hey y'all, Maze is killing me right now. This is hilarious. All right, Maze, he ain't white, but he actually Hispanic. His name Jorge, but we gonna get to that in a second because we gonna have some real deep conversation. Second of all, let me say this to all. We're gonna take some callers first before we dive into this conversation. I want everyone to listen. I want everyone to listen. When I bring folks, it is about the information so that we can be able to take it and we could be able to understand what we have to do so that we can really get this wealth. All right. So this is let's go back to let's go to some of the callers, man. For Maze is killing me in these comments. It's hilarious. Go ahead. Let's go to some of the comments. The callers real quick before we get to this conversation.
Hello.
All right. How are you? Hello.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Who's this?
Okay. This is Willie Preston. How you doing, brother Jamal?
How you doing, Willie?
So listen, I was doing well, man. Listen, I gotta say, and I hope I don't get you in trouble, man. I don't want to get myself in this, but I gotta say,
you running for office, so be careful. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Listen, but it is what it is. It's just a pleasure thinking it back some years back when you and I were fighting for our brother Laquan, 100%. And how you and I were fighting to breaking financial institutions so they could give us our peace, and now it's seeing you figured out how to fight to walk right in the front door and still get what we need. So it's just a pleasure to watch you do that, and I wanted to just give you your flowers.
I appreciate it.
Because I want to say this, I appreciate the call. I appreciate the conversation you just had with David as it relates to developing buildings and infrastructure. But it's important for us as Black people to capitalize on this moment.
There you go.
Is we have to develop leaders from our community in the business and in the political sector, because it's okay to build a lot of things, but I think what Maeve will likely be telling us and getting to is we have to make sure that it's for us, by us, right?
100%.
And so what I'm thinking about is you have really developed as a leader. And so what I'm going to say is my wife and I were listening this morning, and we realized we always want to do our part. And so we are going today to close 3 accounts, 2 with Chase and 1 with Bank of America. And the reason being is you're right. We are funding our own oppression.
There you go.
And there's no way that young Black people who are considered themselves leaders and people that fight for justice every day, even when the camera's not rolling, that we can participate in that. So we're going to close 3 accounts with them today, and I hope that they're listening, and I'm sure they are, because this is the show that if you want to know what's really on the minds of Black people, this is the one you listen to. So we're going to close our accounts, and I encourage everyone else to do the same. So the only thing I add, Jamal, because you have developed as a leader, and we are listening, brother, give us also the play where we're going to bank at, because we're going to bank somewhere, correct?
Right.
We're not going to be banking with Chase and Bank of America, and I just wanted to make sure I say that. And I'll say this: as a candidate for state senator, I'm going to make certain that if given opportunity to serve in this role, we're going to be focused extremely heavily on development, and particularly on 79th Street, where we have a huge amount of opportunity there. So that Blacknificent Mile that we see, every business imaginable, owned and operated by us, Black people. Let's make sure that we focus on that, people.
100%.
So that's what we're headed.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you taking my call.
Hey, no, I appreciate you, and you're exactly right. We are funding our own oppression. Just if you listen to the last conversation with me and David, Chase Bank, I'm banned from every Chase Bank in America. They'll never do anything for me, and if I ever run for office, they're gonna spend money against me. But yet they passing money to everybody else, right? They passing, David got few $1 million to build some new houses. I see a lot of organizations and a lot of politicians that's benefiting off of our fight. All right. And the reality is they are just buying power so that they can keep on expanding their branches in our neighborhoods, keeping us banking with them. And they're going to keep redlining our communities for many years going forward. There needs to be some real oversight. I talked about this with the Black Caucus last week in Springfield, that y'all saw my fight with Chase Bank. What are you guys doing as the Black Caucus to hold them accountable, to make sure that this money is actually going into our communities to us? And the reality is that a lot of the leaders have just taken money in their campaign coffers. Our mayor, Lori Lightfoot, has been every city event has been sponsored by Chase Bank. We got to really start to really understand what's really going on here, people. And at the end of the day, we got to step up. We got to unify. We got to fight. And we got to build new leaders, just like Willie said. And we're going to get to that a little bit later, because I got a couple leaders that I'm bringing in here that we should be supporting, right? That we got to build up, that's going to fight for us. Because I'm telling y'all, these leaders that we got today, I'm telling you for sure and for sure, they are not working in our best interests each and every day. They are working in their interests, and I'm tired of it. I see it every day. I try to be nice now. You know, I ain't the radical kick in the dope person I used to be, unless I have to. You know, unless I have to. I said unless I have to, you know, and I listen. I listen to what they're doing. I make my critiques. And I let them know the pathway forward. So, do we got any other callers real quick? All right, callers, keep your comments to 1 minute. Caller.
Good
Hello?
morning. This is Cassandra Matz. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I was taken aback that David was able to leave without answering any of the audience.
Yeah, that was my fault. I'm sorry. That was my fault. I wasn't paying attention to my, you know, I don't do this every day. I'm a guest host, you know, so I wasn't paying attention to a call up there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess my comment now would be more of a statement than a question. I grew up in Roseland, right? My family home is still there. I did a lot of developing myself over at Pullman Park, swimming and being a camp counselor and going to Mendel dances. And as I drive through Pullman as well as Roseland, it just saddens me that all these years, and I'm 58, nothing really has changed. Right. And I was listening to David saying that he's trying to repopulate Pullman with Black homeowners, which I'm glad to hear. But also you were asking him about, you know, how many developers, Black developers have you developed? But I also want you to concentrate on Black construction owners. I'm with an organization. I'm a member of an organization, Black Contractors, Owners, and Executives. And, you know, it's hard for us to navigate through that space of construction, especially with all of the white construction companies coming in, outbidding us because we're smaller, right?
Yep.
So what are we doing to ensure that we are developing Black construction companies,
100%.
making them not just necessarily subcontractors? We're done with that. It's time for us to become prime.
There you go.
We unbundle these projects so that we can afford to be a part of the project as a prime.
Right.
And also, too, if for some reason one of the McHughes, the Clayco come in and sweep up the project, make them have us as a partner.
Right.
You know, that can be written into the RFP, written into the project to make sure that we have a fair share. And also, yes. And then, too, we're talking about construction workers who are sitting at home right now because the union's not calling them up.
Right.
How about have them be a part of the project? Because it's nothing like me being in a Black community and I see all white people out there even holding the freaking flag. Yeah. I can hold the flag, right?
Yep.
So there's so many ways to engage
and that
us
union
and
conversation,
to make sure that we.
That's a whole nother conversation about the unions, but go ahead.
It's a whole nother conversation, but what I don't want to see is that the little boys and girls come out of their home and they see white out there building. How are they going to identify? How are they going to know that there's another job option we have to make sure that we hold David to the fire. You let David go before we can put some fire under his feet.
So let me say, that's my fault. But David is always he's always open to these conversations. So that it will happen again. Let me also say, and Mays can, and I'll tell Mays can bring him on because. Mays actually got a connection, a family connection that works with David. So we can definitely have David back on the show. But let me say this: I have been able to get David to, hire black contractors. Right. I've also seen him invest. Let me say this about black developers that I'll say work with. Right. We have a lot of for-profit black developers who come into the community, do a project or two, make $1 million or two, and leave the community and not really invest it in the comprehensive plan on economic development. And that is an issue that I saw as well, right? Is they don't have a nonprofit mindset of this is, for the people, by the people. I'm coming in to develop these neighborhoods with the intention of job growth, of a home ownership growth, et cetera. And so they come in because, hey, I get on a big project, I make $1 million, make $2 million, I go buy me a nice car, and I'm kind of gone. We need more community-centered, focused black developers. Yeah. I've seen and been in the rooms and been on projects with both of them. Community, nonprofit developers. David is a nonprofit developer, so he don't have $1 million salary. So they have, when you a nonprofit, then all of the money that comes back in got to go back out somehow. But when you are for profit, they make that money and they can go and do their thing. They're not really invested in the community. And we need more community-centered black developers. All of you out there, I tell our folks every single day, I tell our young people every single day, we need to stop looking at how we can do the small stuff and understand that we can do the big stuff. Yeah. You have the ability to own and be the prime contractor. You have the ability to be the manufacturing company. You got the ability to be the developer, right? Mm-hmm. And what I will do and I will promise and continue doing is kicking in the door to folks like David, to the governor, I can go to meet with anybody in the state and make sure that they know, or light fire behind them to say, you got to make sure that you give them an opportunity. Yeah. One thing that is for sure that I did make sure with David on the new homes is that he hired a black solar panel company, one of the only ones in the state. All right. And that is what they did. It is a multi-million-dollar deal. It's going to create jobs in the community. It's going to have an internship for young people that are coming into the green field. It is black owned. All black owned a solar panel company that they gave a multi-million-dollar deal to do their solar on the new homes that they're building. So that is what I'll say that I made sure that I did, and that is for sure. All right, so going to create black millionaires, going to create jobs. That's what I do is I kick in the door, but we got to make sure that we position ourselves and get up and say no. This is what we need to do. A lot of folks, and another thing that I'll say real quick before I move on is a lot of folks, we want to build restaurants, you know what I'm saying? And everybody think grandma recipe is good. And I love it. Y'all, grandma recipes do be good. I love it. But we need folks in these industries, y'all. And if we all come together, I'm telling you, I kick the door in and make sure we all come together and say, yeah, we got this black-owned construction. We got this solar. We got this. And we go into the governor, especially right now during election time, where I sat with the governor and said, why is these numbers this abysmal on state contracts? That has to, like, what are y'all doing in here? Why do we have billions of dollars in energy contracts and it's hard for black-owned companies to get in to energy money in the state? We got to go kick these doors in, but we got to be prepared and pull the people together and do it. All right, so let me say, what may it say? Jamal, who owns the project? David is not the project. So what the developer does, Mays, actually, which I've learned is they built the project and then they sell it off, you know what I'm saying, to whoever is the tenant. And so like Amazon, they built the Amazon and then sold it to somebody for $6-7 million. All right, so our next conversation, y'all, this is Jorge Newberry. All right, and I know y'all said we made our white people quota. We only got one white person for the show. That was David. But I want to shift gears back to home ownership before we get to entrepreneurship here shortly. And Jorge, give me a 2-minute breakdown of who you are, what you do, and then we're going to go ahead and dive into it.
Sure. My name is George Newberry. I use George.
I know you use George.
It's terrible. When my dad came to the country, he came from Argentina, and he found it easier to. He was named Jorge.
Yeah.
It was easier for him to better assimilate into the society and
I'm
start
sure.
calling himself George and
I'm
losing
sure.
his accent.
Yeah.
And so when I was born, I was the firstborn and named Jorge as well, but everyone called me George just
right.
because, unfortunately, at that time, people believed that, or he believed, and probably rightly so, that in order to succeed in America, you needed to lose.
Y'all could do that. We can't do that. Y'all could do that. You know what I'm saying? We're a little jealous, but we can. But tell us
here's what I do. So I run a company called American Homeowner Preservation. We started in 2008 at the start of the housing crisis. It was we started as a nonprofit organization. The goal was to help families at risk of foreclosure stay in their home, and we focused in very low and moderate income neighborhoods across the country.
Yeah.
And we'd buy the defaulted mortgages at discounts from Wall Street hedge funds and then share those discounts with the families.
Okay.
Now, that company has evolved into several companies, but our focus is to increase the homeownership rate for all Americans to 75%. Currently, it's 75% for white families, it's around 50% for Hispanics, and about 44% for African Americans. And that is the source of a lot of the ailments in our country. If you go back in history, in the early, from the 1930s through 1968, the federal government, the FHA redlined neighborhoods, and these were, if they identified a neighborhood as predominantly minority, then they would label it as hazardous, which was simply code for minority. And they said, we are not going to make loans in these neighborhoods. And that, and what happened, unfortunately, it was all tragic, but some of these neighborhoods were integrated, but the white families in those neighborhoods, since they couldn't get financing on their homes, they moved out.
Right.
And so what happened between the 1930s and 1968 is 98% of the loans backed by our federal government went to white families, and this sparked an explosion of wealth for white families. Minorities were left behind.
Right.
And in 1968, I was born in 65. So in 1965, a white family could go into a bank, and an African-American family could go into a bank, identical credit, identical job and income, and the bank could legally approve the white family and say, no, we're not going to make the loan to the black family just because they're black.
Right.
And that's when I was born. And that was sanctioned by our federal government. Now, that was outlawed in 1968.
Okay.
But it's not really changed. The homeownership rate has not increased, even though discrimination is officially
It's not
outlawed.
changed since. So
now, picture this. Let me continue that story, because it's the same obstacles exist today. And I'll go back to the 2000s, where most of us, even you, were born in the 2000s. And then a white family could go into a bank, a black family could go into the bank, identical credit, identical job and income, and the black family was 8 times more likely to walk out of that bank with a subprime mortgage that set that family up to fail. And the white family got a conventional loan, with low fixed rate. So that continued.
Right.
And so when the housing crisis hit in 2008, it disproportionately displaced millions of minority families across this country. Many families of all races were foreclosed upon, but disproportionate impact on minorities, and particularly those very low and moderate income communities, which for decades the federal government said, we're not going to make any loans in those neighborhoods.
Right.
Then all these big banks, Chase included, went in and said, hey, no, we'll make loans, but they made loans that set up families to fail. So these neighborhoods have been challenged decade after decade. So what we're trying to do is change that, and it requires a lot. We're undoing decades of inertia. Of this is the way. This is the status quo, and we need to change that. And we need to change that by helping families who want to become homeowners, and actually making families believe that they really can become homeowners. Because many families, their parents are renters, Their grandparents were renters, or their parents bought a home but then got foreclosed upon.
Right.
So wasn't a positive home ownership experience. And so right now we need to change that and create a path forward for minority families to become homeowners.
So the American Homeowner Preservation. Now they targeted or I guess help folks with foreclosures. What does that mean?
So we help. So what we would do first. So when we first started as a nonprofit, families would come to us. They were in foreclosure, and we would advocate on their behalf, one-on-one with Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America. And it wasn't very successful because the banks many a times would take months, if not years, to come back and typically say, no, we're not going to agree to the resolution. And by the way, your foreclosure sale's next week. So that didn't work very well. So we changed our approach. We became a for-profit, and we started buying pools of defaulted mortgages from banks and hedge funds. And that is the strategy that worked. In the last decade, we bought more than 10,000 mortgages, predominantly in low and moderate income neighborhoods, and that has been very successful at keeping families.
And when you buy the mortgages, now what? Give me a step process. Break it down. You
So
buy the
it's a crazy
mortgages.
thing.
They go into foreclosure. You buy the mortgage. Now what happens?
Sure, we buy the mortgage. Let's say the home they owe $100,000 and the home value had dropped to $50,000, very common back then. We could probably buy that mortgage for around $20,000.
Okay.
So now we could go to the family and say, hey, if you want to stay, we can drop your principal, drop your payment, and forgive some of that delinquency to get you back on track. People would usually give us $2,000 up front. We'd forgive the remaining delinquency. We'd reduce the payment for the rest of the term of the loan.
Okay.
That is a strategy that
How many
really
people have not, like if there's a situation where people don't respond, then what?
Then we start foreclosure.
Okay.
We continue the foreclosure. Usually they're already in foreclosure by the time we get it. We continue the foreclosure. And usually there's a point at which people do respond. Sometimes the home's vacant. People passed away. People already left.
Yeah.
We may end up completing foreclosure. It's much better for us if we can achieve a modification, or if they don't want to stay or they've already gone, if we can reach out to the family and offer them money to sign a deed in lieu, and then we don't have to complete the foreclosure process.
And then if the house is foreclosed, what happens to the home?
Sure, we sell it.
Okay.
And we put it on the open market. And here was the, to add tragedy to this, the average value of the home that backed the mortgages that we purchased was $40,000. And that sounds really low.
Yeah.
But we bought tons of homes, tons of mortgages secured by homes in, for instance, South and West Side Chicago. Many homes were $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And some of these homes were ready to occupy.
Right.
But what happened was that families would say, I want to buy this home. I want to live in it. Owner occupants wanted to make an offer to buy a home, and they could not get financing. And one of the reasons is that when in a knee-jerk reaction to the housing crisis, where banks overcharged, and that's a nice way, profiteered off these subprime mortgages, now Dodd-Frank said you can only make a small amount to originate a mortgage, and that small amount, percentage of the loan amount, when the loan amounts were small, like $50,000 or $75,000, even $25,000, it didn't make financial sense to the banks to make the loans. So now, these same neighborhoods that were redlined, same neighborhoods that were targeted with subprime loans, now, and including today, if you go in and try to get a $40,000 loan at all the national mortgage originators, Rocket and others, banks, they will say no. The minimum loan that we'll make is $100,000. Some are even $150,000. A couple are at $75,000. They won't make those small loans. So what happened is those homes worth $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 got sold to investors who then rent them out. So these neighborhoods, since Dodd-Frank came out, have or legislation was enacted, those neighborhoods have become more and more tenant occupied and not owner occupied, and that's all the maladies that come with a neighborhood that is predominantly tenant occupied and not owners.
Okay. So the goal for you is what? Your one goal. Sum it up.
The one goal is to increase the homeownership rate for all to 75%.
Okay. And so the ways that you have done that.
Micro mortgages. So we have a national mortgage originator that will originate loans as small as $5,000.
Okay.
And those loans are on standard terms. They're sold to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, to banks for CRA credits. But these loans are today around 3 or 4%, fixed 30 years.
5,000 and up.
5,000 and up, and we lose money when we make a loan of $40,000 or less. We lose money. The goal is, though, at some point, that legislation or federal incentive, something will make it so we can at least break even on those loans. We make money on loans over $40,000.
All right, so and we're gonna give you this question that Mays Jackson asked, folks. What's in it for the black people?
So I'm just offering tools that people can take advantage of. Okay. I see the inequities in our country, and it's a for-profit business. We want to eventually in 5 years, we want to be 2025. The goal is to get listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Currently, we fund through crowdfunding. We've raised more than $130 million. We pay investors. We're open to everybody, non-accredited and accredited investors, and they can invest in us and earn a monthly return. But so that's what's in it. But really my wife's African American. We have two sons, and I want a better country. I mean, I want a better country for all, and a just country for all. It's difficult to see it's oppression, and it may be subtle today, more subtle than it was 50 years ago, but it's still oppression, and that needs to change. And so if I can provide tools and a conduit, work with people like you and Don and others in communities across the country, we could really make this happen. It's like the big goal is to make homeownership, because it's not just owning a home. It's what happens when it's going to improve these neighborhoods, and B, it's going to create wealth for all, not just for white families. So this is what happens today.
All right, so we got to get to our small business, but we got callers. All right, go ahead. Caller.
Hey, shalom, young man. Keep up the good work. This is Bob Israel out the front.
What's up, Bob?
Yeah, man. You're making Central City look good.
I appreciate you, man. Talk to me.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on concerns. I ain't gonna beat you up too much, but yeah, you let the man get off the hook. So if you say Mays got a relationship with him, but I heard him drop some names, and we had to protest that Walmart actually when he built it. So and that Mariano was on 39. Yes, sir. You know, I've been doing this a little while.
Right.
But David Jordan know me personally, and you know, I sure wanted to ask him a few questions. But he ain't hard to find. True, I like to catch him publicly.
He ain't hard to find.
I know. Trust me. But he ain't answered some of my emails. But that's something different. It ain't about me. It's about the community, like Cassandra said, because they're hollering them jobs for them $15. But contracts create jobs. We need the contract. No developers good and all that. Please keep up the good work.
There you go.
But contracts create jobs. Jobs don't create contracts.
There you go.
So keep up the good work, bro, and let's keep it moving.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
Shalom.
Next caller. Next caller.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I'm good. I'm sorry. They told me I would be waiting for the whatever. I wanted to see if you guys were having, I'm trying to look at you live, Tawana Dennis on.
Yeah, Tawana be on in about 5 minutes. So you going to hang tight.
Okay. I'm gonna hang for her. Make sure my phone is charged.
All right,
Mays is not there today?
No. I'm Mays. I'm Mays today.
Okay, and you know what? That's fine. But y'all don't have my girl on, and then don't have the host on. But you gonna do just as good. I know.
Oh yeah. Mays, Mays the older version of me. You know what I'm saying?
And what's your name, sweetie?
I'm J. Mark.
You know what? And I need J. Mark. I need to catch up. No. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I knew him when he was over at. I knew him when he was over at WVON.
Yeah.
And this is how out of touch I am, because I've been in the books and they've been listening to nothing. I didn't even know he had left.
Yeah.
So that's how.
But I need you to hang tight for me, okay? All right, I appreciate you for address. And let me Mays, real quick, you don't look better. But I listen, I love Carrie still, you know what I'm saying? So, Mays. I don't want to dog you on here. All right, so quickly tell people how they can find you and the company's websites, things of that sort.
Sure, you can go to AHP Mortgage Direct, which is a nationwide mortgage lender that does loans as small as $5,000. If you're interested in investing, AHP Title, we own a title company, which is accepting investments to buy defaulted mortgages, the same strategy we've done for more than a decade. And we're right here in downtown Chicago. Someone asked if we have black loan officers, black C-suite. We do. And we try to be a diverse and welcoming employer.
All right. Well, you got black kids, so we're dependent on you, okay, to really be a part of the process, man, and helping us to change the state of these neighborhoods. All right. Thank you, George, for coming on. We're gonna get to our entrepreneurship piece. We got Tawana Dennis coming on, y'all. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Mays Jackson Show will be back after this break. Mays Jackson.
Tune in to the Mays Jackson Show every day, Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m., where you can catch us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook Live. Plus, from 6:30 to 8, you can get us on WBGX 1570 AM. That's right, it's the Mays Jackson Show, where every single day we ask the question, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them, Mays said. We out of here. Peace.
Mays Jackson.
Caller, you on the Mays Jackson Show? What's up?
Hi, this is Katie. How are you?
Hey! Okay, hold on. I'm going to make an official nomination right now that we make Katie the new president of the phone club. Riis, can I get a second from you, man?
I second it.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. Everybody tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. If you vote that Katie should be the new president of the phone club, please signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Congratulations, you are now the new president of the phone club. Katie from Ashburn.
We did it. We did it. You're going to be the next president.
How you doing, boss lady?
Fine. Thank you. I accept that nomination. Thank you.
All right. You got drafted.
Mays Jackson.
It's the Mays Jackson Show, where every single day we ask the question, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them, Mays said. We out of here.
Today, the Biden administration is releasing what it calls a new strategy to fight domestic terrorism. Following a 100-day review, federal officials are now laying out a new plan hoping to deter, detect, and prosecute domestic terror.
They went to the Capitol waving their flags and looking for smoke. He was out there looking for justice. They was over there looking for votes. Ashley Babbitt was with him and told all the people that nothing could stop us. She climbed through the Capitol window, breached security, and called a shot, bro. The media say she a veteran. They paint the picture to make her look greater, but she disrespected the same country that she served. That makes her a traitor. They was fighting police, resisting arrest. On God, I couldn't believe it. I guess blue lives only tend to really matter when it's convenient. Hey, these are the times we witness in history, all because they didn't get a victory. United States is so contradictory. We get equal rights, that's a mystery. Politicians, they more like magicians. You know they got tricks up their sleeve. We point out the flaws that's up in this country. You know they gonna tell us to leave. Somebody try to help me understand it. Always seems like a double standard. They be out here leaving us empty-handed to certain rights we are not granted. The media's the culprit when it comes to the comparison. Cause when it comes to race, they always changing up the narratives. Terrorism. They say you a patriot, call you a hero. I call it terrorism. And that's on the real. You know what we know, I say it's terrorism. They say you a patriot, call you a hero. I call it terrorism. And that's on the real. You know what we know, I say it's terrorism. They say you a patriot, call you a hero. I call it terrorism. And that's on the real. You know what we know, I say it's terrorism. They say you a patriot, call you a hero. I call it terrorism. We still out here trying to get our reparations, but the government pump faking out here hesitating. I'm out here trying to keep my peace, so I keep meditating. The media make us look bad, they taint our reputation. Look, it's so sad that COVID causing toe tags. You claim you so patriotic, but you ain't wearing no mask. You out here wildin' with your MAGA flags and showing your ass. You wanna be part of some type of revolution so bad. Look, you talk revolution and constitutional rights, homie. I guess we forgot about back in the days when all of the business was whites only. Yeah. George Floyd got justice. Juneteenth got much respect. They made it a national holiday. Man, it's all good, but cut the check. They're giving out all of these vaccines, putting it in you like caffeine. Was it all in the part of the plan? I bet money like DraftKings. It's land of the free, home of the brave. 1776, we wasn't free till 1865, so we wasn't part of that shit. And that there's terrorism.
Back to the Mays Jackson Show. You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Mays Jackson. Mays Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For Ruthie Moore, for Todd Stroger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go. Yeah. Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts. Man, Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case. He was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover-up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you can put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to send it. We need some different players in the game to handle business. Too many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends, DNA gets spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking, trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Let us give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. And I'm concealed carry, I stay with the pipe. But Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this is a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks.
All right, we are back. I want to thank the listeners from WBGX for listening to the best morning show I think y'all ever heard right here on the Maze Jackson Show. I am J. Maul Green. Look, Maze gonna mess with me all day in the comments. And we are back. Let me just say this for everybody that's been watching for the first couple hours, y'all. I want y'all to take that information in. I want y'all to go back and rewind and listen. Each and every day, right? I spend my time trying to make sure that we can increase black home ownership, increase black entrepreneurship, find where the money, find who is in power, find who to hold accountable. We have to make sure that we are getting prepared and ready so that we can start kicking these doors open, man. There are billions of dollars. Well, I'm telling you, I was just in Springfield watching an $80 billion budget. We have a very few % of state contracts. We got billions of dollars coming down in green infrastructure from EV charging and solar panels and all of this different money that we do not have black people in to be able to get some of this money. I want y'all to take this information, go back to the table, go to the dinner table, go to your friends and say, what are we going to do so that we can put ourselves together and we can go in and fight for what is ours and build the construction companies. When people talk about construction, let me just say this is, we always talk about the painters. We want to be the painters and the carpenters, and that's all good and dandy. But y'all got to know, we ain't got no black-owned companies in mass excavation, right, who laying the soil down. We ain't got no black companies and dynamic compaction companies who dropping the metal on the soil so that they can make sure that it's prepared for something to build on it. We need black site utility companies, right, who are going down in the ground to get those utilities and bring them back to the land. We need black developers, right, who are in these communities with a community-centered, community-focused agenda to rebuild community. We need folks in all of these fields. I know I love my restaurants. I love y'all recipes, but I'm telling y'all, I need y'all in these multi-million dollar fields so that you can create jobs and invest back in the community, and we can take back our community. And that's why my special guest today is somebody who's doing just that. Tawana Dennis, how are you?
I'm great. How about you? That was awesome. Very well said, and that's exactly what's going on right now.
All right, so come closer to the mic for me. So, talk to me real quick. Give us a 2-minute who you are. I know you can't put it in 2 minutes. You really need a book. Give us a 2-minute introduction of who you are, and we're gonna dive right into it.
Sure. My name is Tawana Dennis. I am a Black woman from Inglewood. Inglewood here. So I pretty much got into real estate about 20 years ago. Started off in the mortgage industry and kind of just worked my way on in that way. When the market tanked, I went into real estate in 2007-8 era, and I've just been marching up since.
Nice.
I've been marching up since, and today we kind of land where I am in right now, the first Black African-American woman to own her own title company in Chicago. So that's really huge because, as you said, we stop at where we feel comfortable at.
Right.
I know so many African-American women who own real estate brokerages.
Yeah.
And I'm an owner of a real estate brokerage as well, and that's awesome. But, how do we challenge ourselves to move a little bit further than that?
Right.
So I went and started up a real estate school. Okay.
Hey, you look
Sorry. I went and started a real estate school, and then I also went and started a real estate title company. Does that not work?
Best. There you go.
Hear me better?
There you go.
Yeah, we in there. Okay, awesome. So so I kind of broke barriers because they told me there's no way you're going to get a title company. You're not an attorney. You're not going to get one. And I'm like, yeah, I will get one.
Right.
I'll figure out a way to
There
get
you
one.
go.
And guess what? I'm licensed by the state of Illinois, underwritten by the major title companies.
Nice.
Fidelity, Chicago Title,
Nice.
Doma. So I broke barriers that we didn't know that we can break through.
I love it.
In addition to that, I just started this. I was able to purchase a property in Chatham, Chicago's, prestige Black African-American community, where a lot of good birthed talents and nothing but heroes and people who have paved the way for us have come from, right?
You bought that big old building right there.
I got
Chatham,
that big
y'all.
old building
That big
over
old
there.
building right there
I
off, what's
do.
that, 87 The Cottage? What's that?
I am. It's now called the 840 Impact. I am
840
the
Impact.
proud owner of a 20,000 square feet
Wow.
building at 840 East 87th Street, right?
I love
it. When I walked in this building, the thing is, this building is so historic, and I just don't think Chicago knows about it, right?
I had a bogus rehab facility up in there many years ago. They had you come sign some papers, so they can get you a.
Understood, right? So that building used to be owned by the great Dempsey Travis.
Nice.
Who,
Okay.
A legacy, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, African Americans, definitely should know about him and the ways that he's paved and the steps that he's actually let us be able to come behind. It's like nothing short of awesome. The major thing with Dempsey Travis is he definitely was an activist, and he definitely paved the way for a lot of African Americans.
Right.
I can remember walking into this building for a purpose of selling the building.
Yeah.
And when I walked into the building, it was as if he had no legacy that he left behind because he had no family, really.
Wow.
He was married, but he never had children. He didn't have siblings. So it was, when I walked into the building, it was as if he went home and just never returned.
Yeah. Wow.
So everything was still in place, paperwork. He owned so many properties, things like that. But there was a room that I walked into, and it was his old office. And there was nothing but awards, plaques, pictures hanging up. And I mean, he had a picture with every president probably before I was living.
Right.
Definitely, for sure. But there was one picture that kind of stood out to me. And that was a picture of him signing with the president to stop redlining in the Black African-American community.
Powerful.
And that was for us to be able to buy mortgages.
Wow.
So there was a time where we couldn't even get a mortgage.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. That's
and it
powerful.
wasn't too short ago, you know? So it was the time where we couldn't even get a mortgage, and just for him to be able to keep moving to stop that and to be there to sign for that, I'm sure it took an army, but he was definitely part of that. So that made me think, oh gosh, something has to be done here, you know? This building is just too valuable to let someone tear it down or, you know, do something that shouldn't be done. And then I went on to learn that our president, Barack Obama, had an office in there.
Yeah. Right.
So it was just so much greatness coming from this facility that some energy just jumped into me in the facility, and I was like, what can I do here?
Right.
So I started, it was the beginning of COVID, but I started my journey there. Yeah. And we're here now. I own the building.
Nice.
Free and clear.
So
right?
what's the plan? Tell us.
Come on, that's the plan there. So definitely all the businesses that I've opened, the title company, DRG Title Agency, the school, DRG Academy, Real Estate Academy. We are licensed to give brokerage classes, managing broker classes, continuing education, leasing classes.
I got class today.
Okay. We're actually working on also, in addition to that, bringing for home inspections.
Nice.
You know, so we don't have enough black home inspectors out there.
And I know one. I know one that owns a company.
See?
Yeah. Charles, oh my God.
It's very
Charles
rare.
Johnson. Yeah, very
so
rare.
So we're definitely going to bring that so we can get some, you know, the youth and get some young adults interested in that as well, because that's good money as well. So there are so many different career paths that you can go into real estate, and that's what this hub will do. Yeah. It will be able to train the youth and these young men and women out here to have alternatives to college. Yeah. You know, places where they didn't think they would be able to walk into, they be able to walk into. But not only that, we're going to make this hub a place that you want to come and do business.
Come on, somebody.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to make it look like you want to come in and do business.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't we look like we're downtown?
Yeah. Talk about it.
Okay, that's what we need to do.
We're going to have my turn to own up in there too.
Yeah. That's right. Absolutely.
We're
so
gonna
we're
have
definitely
our company up in there.
Partnering with a lot of different organizations. So my turn to own, we've already discussed this. That you guys will be in there because guess what? Where there's real estate to be done.
There you go.
Everybody needs to be there.
There you go.
So we're not even charging like for rent spaces for vetted businesses. For people who we do business with, just come in and use the space. But in addition to that, we also have, I'm going to be opening up and actually starting my own UPS store there, right?
Come on,
so
somebody.
I'm franchising a UPS store.
Nice.
That's major and huge, right? Yeah. Because what you spoke about earlier is we're not going outside the box. No. We're not thinking of generational
there
wealth.
You go.
We're not thinking of things that, that, you know, I didn't know at one point I can own a UPS store, right? Now UPS owns their stores, but I didn't know this was a franchisee. And it's just that simple. I can get a UPS store there. So it's going to be so much in a community. But the biggest thing is the non-for-profit to bring the community together, right? That's my passion right there, is to be able to go out and make Chicago look like a place you want to live. Yeah. And there's areas, of course, that looks like a place you want to live, but there's also communities that I come from personally, right?
Yeah.
Inglewood. What was there to mirror in Inglewood?
Man, talk about it. You know, I'm from Inglewood.
Nothing.
My better half would push on me because I'm really like on the border of Gresham and Inglewood, so she outside like cringing right now. But I'm like, you feel me? I'm like from Inglewood, a couple blocks from the border. I felt everything from Inglewood.
You understand the culture.
I understand. I'm from really Gresham
you
though.
were in a little bit of a pleasant neighborhood.
No. Gresham was hard. Now I watch people get shot every day, but it was like Inglewood though. You feel me?
Was hard.
76 and Halsted is like, it's like both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm from like, look at.
Yeah, I know.
We're the only one. We count up our trauma and stripes.
That's right.
Right. I'm from 60th and Winchester.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But
coming over there.
This is what I do want to ask with that, because that's huge.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to skip over that. From where you from to where you are now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Talk about
the journey is real.
Absolutely.
And what we were talking about with the last segment is how do you position yourself?
Right.
And I know it's a long, but what are some things that young black women need to start doing right now to start positioning themselves so when opportunity comes, they can transition with ease?
Woo. Talk about that right there, right? because you don't necessarily have a transition when you're struggling
there
to
you go.
make it.
Wow.
Right?
I call it entrepreneurial survival mode. That's what I call it.
I realized I was good at it because I
Yes.
was like, I'm leading my family
Uh-huh.
at 15 and 16
Same.
out
Yeah.
the pack because I just got a little bit more
Right.
up here than maybe they got going
And
on,
the crazy
right?
the crazy part is your family is your first fight.
Yep.
The first
fight.
First fight.
My mom
right?
and daddy looked at me crazy.
They still,
Yeah.
they won't support it. What
Uh-huh.
do you mean? You need a job.
You need a job.
I got a job. What are you
Got you.
talking about?
Got
You want to
you.
see my tax return?
Yeah.
I pay the IRS.
Talk about it.
You know, that's
we pay more taxes, actually.
way more
taxes
than you will ever pay, right? So
God damn
that
IRS.
actually, you know, right? That part right there is what we're talking about, because that's the cohort, and that's what our our non-for-profit is set up about, is basically mirroring.
Yeah.
Who do you have to mirror in areas where there's nothing but poverty, right?
Right.
Because I can remember going to school, and the block that I lived on, of course, I do remember at one point, and I'm not getting badges of honor of doing this, but our block being like the top block in crime in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like murders were happening every single day, but
Yeah.
there was structure.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Right.
as many kids getting killed
Gotcha.
Right.
because the gang stood up
gang
and
stood
tell
up. Yeah,
people,
yeah. No
you know,
women
take
and
your
kids.
kids in the house.
Yeah, right,
We're about
right.
to shoot. It's
Right.
war.
Wow.
Don't
Right.
let your kids outside. So,
Right.
you know, I wasn't scared growing up.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was scared of my surroundings
Gotcha.
growing
Yeah.
up,
Gotcha.
because if I walked from my house, and I went to Harper High School,
Yeah.
was nothing there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So if I walked from my house to school in that radius of maybe a half a mile of walking every day, I didn't see anything.
No
Like,
hope.
I didn't
These
see
kids,
any hope.
These kids walk out
From
of their
home
home.
to school, there's no hope.
Abandoned buildings, abandoned lots, abandoned schools. There is no hope in these
No hope.
neighborhoods for these young people. And let me just say this, because we got a powerful black woman here, and I know you ain't got long, so I want to make sure that I get this out. This is what I was talking about.
Yes.
This is what I was talking about. Too many times I sit in the rooms with billionaires and millionaires, and I watch all of these different industries that we are not either in, or we ain't in the game with how we should be.
Yeah.
So
correct.
a lot of folks, we are in, I call this entrepreneurial survival mode. So those are the folks who like, man, I don't want a job, but I got to figure out how to just pay these bills. So either I'm going to sell some t-shirts, or I'm going to sell some plates, or I'm going to, I'm going to do something
Absolutely.
simple, right?
Absolutely.
That just keeps it afloat. And then when I get it nice and flowing and people rock with me, then it's like, oh man, I'm rocking, but you really just got a job and you ain't really
just-
thriving. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
You know, I'm just
And
making it a little
You
bit,
just
right?
making
Yeah.
it. You in entrepreneurial survival mode.
Yes.
And you don't see people like you, right?
Absolutely.
Who can say like, no, look at this building. We got a title company. We got a real estate brokerage. We got a UPS franchise. These are the opportunities that you can get involved in. Especially, it's just so crazy. We should have had that opportunity with cannabis, right? When they
Absolutely.
oppressed us, and they know that was how we got our hustle on. We
That
ain't
was
going to get
it.
no job. We
You
get our hustle.
Took my money out my pocket.
Took the money, right? And y'all put us in jail, took our money, took our dope, did all these different things over the years, and then legalized it. And now y'all are only ones that could benefit, And that's the hard part. We can't see you, right?
Oh, it's okay. It's
Yeah,
good.
go ahead.
It's big money in the black man's downfall.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
That's a big business.
Absolutely. The hood is set up for the hood.
Wow. Right.
It's not we can't make it anything other than the hood. Now, can we make it look better than what we've seen over years? Absolutely. But the hood is set up for the hood.
Yeah, it's set up for the hood, and
Yeah.
we got to step up, and we got to really inspire the next generation of young
We
people.
have to.
That's so important.
If you came out, and I always tell people, I didn't make it out the hood. I made it out the mentality.
There you go. That's it. That's it. That's it.
That's the biggest
That's
thing
it.
is you make it out the
Mentality.
mentality
That's
of
facts.
being in poverty.
Same.
Because everybody expected me to be, you got parents on drugs, you got this, you got that. I'm leading the pack, and they're like, you're just going to have a lot of babies, be on Section 8.
Uh-huh.
This parents never
Same
had
here.
home ownership.
You was the
And I'm
golden one in the
I'm
family, right?
determined to be different.
Yeah.
I
To be
am
different.
determined to be. I don't care what you think of me, but I am determined.
Your parents
to be different.
working. Real quick. Your parents, or a parent. I don't know the situation. Working parent, long term job. What was their
Absolutely
situation?
not. My parents both addicted to drugs.
Okay. Oh wow.
Mother's
Powerful
deceased
story.
from drugs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Father just got clean from drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a struggle.
Yeah.
Struggle. Yeah.
So how do you not know what you don't even know?
What you don't even know.
There's no
You
your
don't.
trial and error is on a whole nother.
You don't.
Like
Yep.
you're taking risk in life is because your life depends on it.
Do
Yep.
you hear me?
Yep.
Because when I'm in school, I'm exceeding.
You're
You
exceeding.
know, I'm like, I'm a little smarter. Something's
Look,
going on. I'm exceeding.
We appreciate you, and we thank you.
Man.
We are proud of you.
Hey, Green,
You
I'm about to
are
stand
who-
up. I'm
Yeah,
about
yeah,
to stand
yeah.
up.
We got the. We are
you.
proud
Thank you, guys.
because what you just said is so important. This is
Absolutely.
what I preach about each and every day to young people, to my mentees who come around and be like, "Man, you own this. You know, yeah, I own this home. Yeah, I own this commercial building.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they need to see that,
They
right?
have to see it. They have to mirror off of
They got to
something.
mirror it.
And if it's
Yep.
nothing that they can mirror off of, like you just said, how could they position themselves?
How can they position themselves?
How could they position? When I was in school, I exceeded Harper, poor school, nothing. We don't
Right.
get books. I exceeded. I had teachers like, I'm going to find a program for you.
Yeah.
They tiered us with New Trier High School.
Yeah.
So they got us with these kids, and I'm like, what is going on? This is
Right.
a whole nother world. What is
Yeah.
happening here?
Yeah.
You know, whatever the case is, but it also opened up my mind to say, wow, there is a world that exists outside of the hood.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm
There you go.
bus to these people's school
Yep.
into their program, and I'm like, it's houses
This
that
is
look like
right.
this,
That look like this.
and
Yep.
it's a bus ride away.
Right.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
So you got to go because you got a meeting. So
Uh-huh.
but let me say this. I had a mentee, one of my mentees I've been mentoring for many years, called me the other day and he said, J-Ma, I got to tell you something. I said, okay, what's going on? He said, I need your advice. I said, what's going on? He said, I'm dropping out of college. Right? This is what he said. He said, I'm dropping out of college. And my mom and my daddy beating me up. And they own me because, I want a bigger and better life for myself, right? I've been around you too long watching you do these grand things. Like, I want to do something bigger,
Absolutely.
right? And, what I say, first of all, I support his decision because it's his life, right?
It's his life.
And as long as he has a path forward, we're going to support that path forward. And we have to support these young people. They are, I say it all the time, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos would not be them if they lived how we lived.
They would
and
not.
They would not be the richest men in the world. Our young people need to be building cars. They need to be building tech. They need to be owners of the companies, the manufacturing companies, and building all of the different new technology of tomorrow. And if we don't support them in that vision and we just force them and make them go get in debt and get a job to pay off the debt and keep the cycle going, we will be doing an injustice to the next generations of young people. We have to stop it. So
We have to
what's
stop
your
that.
ending comment and how people can find you?
Oh, wow. And I was just speaking that to the young lady out there about that personally with the college. I'm all for education.
Yep.
Definitely.
Same.
I'm all for education. But when you're going, be strategic about
Strategic.
that. Strategic. Be strategic about what you're going into, because I was just explaining to her, when people tell me I'm going to school for business administration, open up a business.
Open up a business.
The amount of money you're about to spend on college, go
Man.
open up a business.
What are you doing?
You're going to learn from trial and error.
Come on.
You might close that business and open up another
That's
business.
that, but once
I'm
you
not in
fail,
debt.
you gonna once you fail, you gonna know how to get back up.
Yeah.
I would never go broke again because I
Do
know
you
if I
hear me?
fail, I'm
And
gonna get back
I've done
up.
it a million times.
Come on.
I failed and I've gotten back up. I
Yep.
failed and I've gotten back up.
Yep.
And just from that alone, like I said, if I leave other generations without knowing that they have opportunities, they
Yeah.
have home ownership opportunities. We want to preserve our neighborhoods. Our
Yeah.
neighborhoods have no preservation to them.
Yeah.
Nobody. People are worried about, with the library coming, am I going to get pushed out my house?
Exactly,
Things like
exactly.
that. We've allocated funds from every title closing that we do to give back to home preservation. So the
Good.
seniors,
Yes.
the people in the community that can't afford roofs,
Yeah.
that can't afford windows, the necessities in Chicago to keep the cold out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are going to be allocating that, and we're going to make. This is the problem right here. We got to make white America respect us. And
there you go. There you go.
We have to make it.
This the female version of me right here, y'all. We got to go and bully them.
You bully them.
You got to kick the door open.
So whatever my company do, you match it.
Come on.
Facts.
You understand?
Come on.
So where there is enough money then to go to a community of at least 8 blocks, and we change that community.
There you go.
Because you make them do it. You're doing business in my neighborhood.
Exactly.
You know, there's big organizations that's doing a lot of business in our neighborhoods that are not giving back to our neighborhoods. Yeah. And that fact alone, you make them do business.
Make it. Let me just say this, and I'm gonna let you go. You know, you just said it. I know a lot of folks, they sit back and they say, well, they just going to push us out. Well, they just going to do this. Well, they just going to do that. Let me tell you something. Don't allow it.
Absolutely.
You get up and you develop. You get up and you buy. You get up and you go and hold them accountable. You hold your leaders accountable. You go see where the money's coming from. You go see who's in power. You have to get up and fight. We can't keep sitting around and allowing folks to come in our neighborhoods, take our neighborhoods from us, push us out because we rented, giving you already know opportunities to other cultures to come in and take what's ours. We have to get up and we have to do it. That's why I'm so proud of you, because you got up and you took a building and you said, no, we're going to preserve this building because you know it wasn't going to be by a black woman if it wasn't for you.
Absolutely.
You know it wasn't going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we got to change that, y'all. So Tawana Dennis, how can people find you real quick?
Okay, you can find me on any kind of social media platform. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, the 840 Impact, Dior Realty Group, DRG Title Agency, anything you want to do, the website, diorrealtygroup.com. You can find me. And then also we're taking donations for the building. Nice. The building itself because we don't follow through in our own communities, they've assessed taxes on the building. Let me tell you how systems work, right?
Yeah.
City of Chicago says, we'll give you a grant. We want to help everybody who's black because we've been given this money federally. So we'll give you the grant, right? We'll give you the grant to fix the property, but you got to work over the taxes. So I've acquired the property. I've done this. I've done that. I've started the renovations. I've done this. And then you tell me you've assessed a building that has been vacant, ran down, pipes burst, all of that in the middle of 87th and Chatham for over $1 million.
What?
Okay,
that's
so
insane.
Now you got $100,000 a year of taxes on this property.
Let me just say, if I was the mayor, that wouldn't be the case right now.
You understand what I'm saying? No, I'm so serious.
That's
so
a commercial.
It's always
That's a commercial.
A fight. It's always going to be a fight, but I will never stop fighting. Believe me when I tell you, I'm so passionate about this and being able to spread this and being able to have the youth open up things that we just never knew that they can open up, to redo our communities, to bring peace in our communities.
Yes.
I will work hard. I will do whatever I need to do, but any and all donations are greatly appreciated. We are on DRG GoFundMe, DRG Economic Development Center. So anything you guys can do is greatly appreciated.
Nice.
And we're going to rock this out. It's going to be open by
This is what
summer.
we're going to do. We're going to help you, and this is what we need to do. We got a budget coming, and April 8th, they finna sign a budget. Ain't no reason why they can't find $1 million to support this from the state. No reason. We need to go to the county, to the state, to the governor, and say, you want us to keep supporting y'all. Y'all need to make sure that we supporting folks who are actually trying to invest in the community. We're going to work on that. I'm going to help you work on that. I appreciate you so much for being a part and coming on the show.
Awesome.
You are a great representation for many folks all across this city.
You guys are as well.
Don't do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Tawana Dennis, everybody. We'll be right back.
Thank you, guys. All right.
The Maze Jackson Show will be back after this break. Maze Jackson.
What's up, Chicago? This is your man, Maze Jackson, host of the Maze Jackson Show. You hear me every single day ask the question, what's in it for the black people? Well, finally, y'all, we've got an answer, and it's called the Black People First Party. Meet us every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at TP, located at 5401 South Wentworth, Unit 17E. That's in the mall at the 55th and the Dan Ryan. And you join us every Saturday where we are taking our politics black. We'll teach you everything you need to know about the game, from how to collect a petition, to how to knock on a door, to even how to become the next mayor of the city of Chicago. That's right, y'all. It is the Black People First Party. Meet us every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at TP, located at 5401 South Wentworth in the mall at 55th and the Dan Ryan. And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Mays said. This is a black people thing you wouldn't even understand.
Mays Jackson.
I love being black. Do you love being black? Yeah, I love being black. Hey, I do this for my people all across the globe. Hey, it's break.
The skin I'm in fit me fine, tailor-made, yeah, I'm comfortable. And so it seems I'm still chasing my dreams. They told me, watch my steps, they want to pull the rug from under you. This is transparency, my life 3D. You live every word that I utter, reporting live from the gutter. Where the mind's hard to change, but we don't give up on our brothers and sisters. Cause we all need one another. The time's getting closer, revolution, feel it coming. I can smell it in the air. Inhale it, let it embody you. Because chances are the cops pull you over, they body you. Plus we don't trust each other, so it's just another obstacle. Why jump hurdles to make a change? It ain't optional. Olympian mindset in this booth with my binoculars. I see my vision getting clear, just as what a prophet means. My music touch the people's soul, black power gospel tunes. So many styles, watch me kick them like they soccer moves. Falling rank and file, this is my platoon. Soldiers at attention, ain't no Willie lynching. This the program, who they think they kidding? Reinvent the system, total reconstruction of our mental stigma. This ain't a game, boy. Still they think I'm talking about Nintendos, that's a shame, boy. Augment reality, better fix your brain, boy. I love my people, hope they love me black. I'm going hard and ain't no holding back. Watch me react, I put my fist up in the skies like a beacon for believers that one day we return to our greatest city. We seek it all the glory we can obtain it, keep reaching. I'm painting this picture, I hope you see it. Guess what the theme is? I love being black. We turning up, I love being black. Say it loud, man, I love being black. One more time, I love being black. Hey. Well, how about you to sing these tunes too? Customize for you a little something you can groove to. Feeling good about yourself, melanated, mood muse. Always service humble pie, we don't care about who's who. Light brown or dark skin, this right here's for you too. We are the gods of the earth, living proof truth. Say it loud if you black and proud, I salute you and that's a fact. Where you at? Let me hear you say it back. I love being black. We turning up, I love being black. Say it loud, man, I love being black. One more time, I love being black. Hey. Super melanation, renovation of our databases. Gotta fix the trinity to make it past the matrix. There's a rabbit in the hole. Your decision, you gon' chase it or just shove it for complacency. Here's your motivation. Black power in your veins. Up to us to build a nation. European mental detox. Completely we erase it. You can't keep fighting over old information. Probably bring it right back if you love being black. I love being black. We turning up. I love being black. Say it loud, man. I love being black. One more time. I love being black. Hey. I do this for my people all across the map. Easy for the ones who don't identify with being black. Hebrews the best elixir. Go ahead and try your batch. It's truth serum. I let loose spirits. The ancestors speak to me. I spit the truth. Hear it. You broken souls here to re-engineer them so that they fearless. This precious atmospheric as the hell is spinning. Trying to strategize a way so we can start winning. It begins with pride of yourself. Embracing this feeling. Said no new friends. That's what happened to the villain.
All right, y'all. This is the J. Maul Green Show this morning.
I didn't say that.
Sponsored by Mays Jackson. Let's go ahead and go to a couple callers real quick before we get into our next segment, new leadership. All right, next caller.
Yo, good morning, man. Good morning.
How are you?
This is Devin Gordine. My name is Devin Gordine from What's In It for the Black People and the Black People's First Party.
All right now.
And salute to you coming on the show today. I got a comment and two questions for you, Mr. Green.
Yes, sir.
My first comment is, earlier in the first hour, I believe that you disparaged the What's In It for the Black People brand by laughing when you asked the question. So when you asked the What's In It for the Black People, please don't laugh because that disparages and weakens the brand that we're building.
100%.
And my first question is,
what's your question?
Well, my first question is, sir, is do you support illegal immigrants voting in municipal elections? And if you were a candidate for mayor, you know, what is your vision for the city as a potential politician? Thank you and have a good day.
All right, I appreciate you. All right, so let me first say, you know, I think the What's in It for the Black People movement has been a movement for many years that I've supported because it's important, and I live that each and every day with what I do. Okay, we're investing in Black entrepreneurs, creating jobs for Black communities, creating opportunity, increasing the homeownership rate in Black communities, going into positions where or going into rooms where people of power sit, and we make sure that we get our piece of the pie. All right, so that's number one. So I live the movement, and I've always supported the movement and Mays and in his fight and the things that he says. Secondly, is your question is a long question. If I was to become mayor, you know, the plan forward, I think that should be a different conversation. But I think, you know, it's simple. You know, we got to make sure that we have a citywide quality of life plan, right, in these neighborhoods all throughout this city, that makes sure that we increase home ownership for Black folks and make sure we got community benefit agreements for folks who come in and develop in these neighborhoods, creating jobs, investing in our public school system, investing heavily into after school programs. We have, I don't think a lot of the things that I can say are new. We've been saying these things for a long time, but we have allowed politicians and the media to frame it as a police conversation when it is not. So, you know, I would love to have a further conversation when Mays decide to come back from retirement and you know, really dive deep into the economics, the cultural foundation of these neighborhoods, and the understanding of the investment in youth, and how do we change the future of Chicago by bringing in the next generation of Black Chicagoans and our young people. So that is a conversation I'm willing to have, and you know, we will talk about the other questions about the immigrant community. Let me just say this. I believe wholeheartedly, right, that, you know, we have to make sure that we stay put in our communities. So I know that's been a large conversation in the What's in It for the Black People movement. I have not dived deep as far as the immigrant voting population, but I'll pass that question over to our potential congressional candidate or congressional member who's running against Danny Davis. Can you discuss what that looks like, and then we'll dive into the new leadership conversation?
Well, currently, like as the laws stand, illegal immigrants or people who are undocumented, which is what the immigrant population would want to be called. Right. I firmly believe that no human being is illegal. Mm-hmm. The undocumented population currently, as it stands, cannot vote in municipal elections. Yeah. And so, as it pertains to federal elections and nationally, that conversation, I think voting rights in itself need to completely be revamped. But it talks more to a question of how do we get people to a clear pathway to citizenship in our country, right? So it's not just the issue of voting. You know, in the same ways that we're pushing back on police state-sanctioned violence, you know, undocumented populations of people are also in those same struggles. Right. And so I always like to say, like, the coalition needs to be big. Yeah. When we say what's in it for Black folks, you know, I think of American descendants of slaves and Black folks here in the United States of America. Yeah. But I think that when we talk about the greater diaspora, we can't leave them behind either. Right. That needs to be a conversation that needs to be had as well. And so as it currently stands here in the city of Chicago, undocumented folks cannot vote in municipal elections.
All right. So this segment is about new leadership. I want to introduce Keena Collins, who is running in the 7th Congressional District against Danny Davis. And, you know, I'm a huge supporter of her because we really talk about the next generation of leaders, and we've been holding the torch for so long that we're not passing it. Bobby Rush has retired, but Danny Davis is still there. And at the end of the day, he's been there for how long? 30 years?
25 years.
25 years? I thought it was way longer than that.
Well, he's been elected for 40.
He's been elected for 40.
He was a city councilman, a Cook County commissioner, and then became the congressman and has been my representative in Congress since I was 5 years old.
Since you was 5, okay. And then, of course, I got Donna Michi, a potential politician here. And we want to talk about, you know, what new leadership looks like. So, Keena, what does that look like for you as far as why you're running for Congress, why now, and, you know, what do you plan to accomplish when you get to that seat?
Yeah, I think that Illinois 7 is one of the most diverse districts in the entire congressional delegation, and yet we're one of the most unequal. I think it's interesting that we're talking about what's in it for black folks because Illinois 7 is considered a plurality black district,
right,
which means 43% of the district is African American. And so let me just kind of give the viewers a scope. We go all the way to the western suburbs of Westchester, all of the Illinois, all of the provisos, Maywood, Bellwood, Oak Park, River Forest. The entire west side of Chicago is in the district. The entire downtown portion of the city of Chicago. So when we talk about the money is in this district, and then parts of the south side, which include West Englewood, Bronzeville, Chicago Lawn, those areas. And so the vision that I see is that we need a new breed of leadership.
Right.
People who are unbought and unbossed, which is why our campaign is not taking a dime of corporation money.
Good.
It's the biggest difference between me and Congressman Davis. I will not take corporate donations from real estate developers, private equity, and the reason for that, J. Mall, is, as you know, a lot of the reason why we can't get things done here in the city of Chicago is because the dollar is king.
Right.
And that has really dominated our politicians on the west side and south side.
Right.
And so I'm a daughter to this district, and you know, most importantly, I'm a leader and I'm a problem solver, and that's what we deserve on the west side and south side.
Right. Okay. So now the priorities, right? What are 3 of your priorities as far as when you become Congresswoman?
Yeah. So in the Illinois 7, public safety has been a top issue for people across the district.
Okay.
My background is as a gun violence prevention advocate. As a child, I actually witnessed a murder on the west side of Chicago. I knew the shooter, I knew the victim.
Okay.
And it put me in the trajectory of violence interruption work. And so we have to strike at the root cause of gun violence, which is poverty.
Right.
Right. So when we talk about the violence in Chicago, we can't talk about it until we talk about the economics. And I've always said that they use Chicago as a political punching bag nationally around this conversation, but they never talk about how we got here.
Right.
You can't talk about the violence in Chicago without talking about the years of defunding education, housing, healthcare. Every mental health facility in the city has been eviscerated.
Right.
In the last, the two previous between the two previous mayors. And so we need to be able to control that narrative and tell that narrative, but fight for those federal dollars to come back to the Illinois 7 and strike at the root causes. I would say relief and recovery in COVID. We need to strengthen our small businesses and make sure that they are getting the federal funding. We need to fight for the Title I funding for our educations and our schools that have low census tract or low income, a high population of low income students.
Right.
And then finally, I would say criminal justice reform.
Okay.
When we look around our district, Austin, the neighborhood that I'm from, we have something called $1 million blocks.
Right.
The government spends $1 million per block to incarcerate adults, and that's just in Austin.
Right.
So $100 million.
Right.
That's equity in our community that we could be putting into our community.
Right.
And so, you know, when we see somebody like Jason Van Dyke, a violent offender, getting out in 3 years after shooting somebody for second-degree murder and 16 counts of aggravated battery, and then we have young men sitting in Cook County Jail for a dime bag of weed, I have a problem with that.
100%.
And so we need leaders that are going to be bold, who are going to strike at these root causes, and who are going to bring black folks and the voices of black folks to the table.
Right. First of all, how much you raised?
I have actually out fundraised Congressman Davis in 2021.
Okay.
So we are nearing close to $500,000.
$500,000. That has never been. Have there ever been?
We are the most serious challenger that Congressman Davis has ever had in the 25 years that he's been in office.
Okay.
We've reached over already 130,000 voters in the district through door knocking, phone banking, and we just got on the ballot.
Right.
So the primary has been moved to June 28th.
Right.
And we're making this a competitive primary. You know, if you want to keep this seat, you have to work for it. And I think that people in the district are going to have to ask me the tough questions and hold me accountable. And I think they're going to have to ask the congressman the tough questions.
Mays Jackson question is, will you put black people first in the district?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that looks a variety of ways. We need candidates who are going to be bold and say, I stand on the platform of supporting reparations for American descendants of slaves.
Yeah. Right. There you go.
And not just, we don't need to study it. The
Yeah.
great American experiment
There you go.
of democracy was built off the backs of black folks here in the United States of America. What more evidence do we need?
That
it's
there's
been floating off the
needed.
credit of
There
black
you go.
folks in the United States of America. And so we need leaders who are going to be bold and say, we don't just need to study it. We need an actual plan to start closing the racial wealth gap in the United States of America, closing this student loan debt that has burdened black students who want to advance their education, and building entrepreneurship and giving contracts to black folks.
You know what I like to see? What they did was in 2011, Rahm Emanuel did an Office of New Americans here. Joe Biden signed it 8 days in office and made it a federal Office of New Americans on a federal level. You know, we need, in my opinion, and something that I will fight for, we need an office for American descendants of slaves. And if we have an office on the city and the county and the federal level that directs all departments, dude, you could take the same plan and put our name on it. You know, we need the same type of investment, the same type of departments to work together to enhance the lives of these neighborhoods that have been oppressed. And we deserve an office that does exactly that with those intentions.
Yeah, I see a great question in the chat. Someone said, where do I fall in the remap? I've always lived in the South Austin community.
Okay.
And I still live in the South Austin community on the west side of Chicago. And so I think those who are closest to the pains that are happening in this community should be closest to the solutions that we're going to push to the forefront on the federal level. I'll let the viewers know, Speaker Pelosi came to the district to stump for Congressman Davis.
And Lori Lightfoot.
And Speaker Pelosi is the third most powerful person in the United States of America. She's a couple of heartbeats away from the presidency. And I think, you know, when these powerful elected officials on the national level come to Chicago, and she came to Chicago literally the week that 2 Simeon students were gunned down back to back.
Right.
You need to talk about the issues that are important to us. We had the infrastructure bill on the table. We had the Build Back Better bill on the table. All of these are our tax dollars.
Right.
And none of those questions were asked.
So which map?
It was about essentially reelecting Congressman Davis. And what we're saying is, that's fine if you want to stand by your colleague, but don't just come to our neighborhoods to campaign.
Right.
Really come to answer the questions that we have and to give us solutions to a lot of these questions.
Which city map do you support? Do you have one that you support?
I haven't been following it as closely. What are the two maps?
You got the Latino Caucus has a map.
You're talking about
Black
the city,
Caucus.
the ward maps. I haven't seen the shapings of each of the maps, but what I will say is we've had 250,000 black folks lead the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois.
Right.
And we have to ask some fundamental questions. How did we get here?
Right.
You know, and so I think Latino elected officials are doing what's advantageous for their communities.
Yeah.
They are lobbying and advocating on behalf of their communities. And if we want that political power, we have to keep black families here in the state of Illinois and in the city of Chicago. And that means we have to keep our neighborhoods safe. We have to find jobs, and we need to make sure that we're getting them, we're allowing them to live dignified lives.
Right.
So I haven't seen the shapes of both of the city maps. I know the congressional maps had already been drawn. We didn't change very much, but I would be interested to view how each were drawn.
Let me say my real quick comment to Mays. No, we do not. But let's not cause some extra stuff that don't need to happen after this. And I'm being in protection mode. Okay, Don. What do you see as far as when you talk about new leadership? As some things that are a priority and for yourself in the community.
So this is what I would say in general, because I didn't grow up in politics. I've always had a stance that politics is very messy and very childish. When I grew up, I didn't want to be a part of it whatsoever. I'm just a person that loved the people and loved doing community service and loved educating my people.
Right.
One thing that I don't ever want to do is come with the approach of out with the old and in with the new. I pay much honor and respect to everyone who has come before me, whether if it's the amazing Bobby Rush or if it's Danny Davis. But it has to come a time. It has to come a time when we pass on the baton.
Right.
And that's what this conversation is really about.
Yeah.
Who's the next generation who's going to come and carry the baton to the finish line?
Especially since they haven't groomed anybody all of these years to take their places, which is totally terrible.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, I was going to say is I'm reading some of y'all's comment. There are two different maps. So there's the congressional maps, the state district. Well, there's multiple maps. There's the state reps. There's the state senate maps that got remapped. Everything got remapped. And then there's the city maps. The maps that we are in contention right now are on the municipal level.
Right.
Which means the wards are going to be shaped differently.
Right.
The congressional maps, y'all, I know that congressional map.
Right.
It has not changed very much.
Right.
So we're not confused by them, but no map has passed on the city level.
Who taught you? Because we know that we don't have a lot of political people that are grooming people, but who taught you? Where do you come from? Where do you get your roots of why you fight the way that you fight?
Yeah, I mean, both of my parents are union workers. They're manufacturing workers. My mom is a crossing guard. And so essentially, I learned from my organizing work.
Right. Yeah.
Like I said, witnessing a murder up close and personal, we think that is unique.
Right.
Wow. It's not. It's happening all across the country.
Every day.
And especially to kids here in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what I knew was that the bullet was flying long before the trigger was pulled for the young man who murdered someone in our community.
Right.
Is that when you shut down public schools, when there's lead in the water, when there's toxins in the air, all of that is the bullet flying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I have to say, I've also been disillusioned by a lot of people around politics because they say one thing and then do another.
Right. 100%.
And so
Facts.
it's been hard to find somebody here in the city of Chicago that I'm like, I'm modeling, my political career after. I'm not a politician. I'm an organizer.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm somebody who lives on the west side of Chicago and is concerned about what is happening in my community.
There you go.
So ultimately, that's what shaped and influenced me. Around.
And to tap into that, when you talk about the next generation, we're just people that's tired.
Right.
We're tired of always having to vote for the least of the worst.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We're tired of having to vote for who's going to stab me 9 inches and who's going to stab me 8.5. I guess I'll take the 8.5 inches.
Right.
And when you really analyze some of the situations that's taking place in our communities, this is basic.
Right.
This ain't rocket science. If you're dealing with high murder rates, get a kid something to do.
Right.
If you're dealing with dropouts and behavior situations, check and see what's going on at home.
Right.
It's a lot of people that's dealing with real mental illness.
Right.
Stop locking them up like criminals.
Right.
Like, this is basic.
Basic stuff.
But the problem is that you're more focused. See, it's money in the problem.
Right.
There's no money in the solution.
Right.
And as long as we keep focusing on the problem as a money maker, where do we stand as people?
Right.
Because now the almighty dollar is everybody's God.
Right. 100%. I think that I think what's important here for me in this city is to make sure that we have a place, folks that look like me and the next generation of young black people have a place in this city, that they can be here, that they are not going to be pushed out, that they have great schools, that they have community centers, they have the opportunity to thrive just like every other neighborhood.
Yeah.
And what needs to happen is we must start to unify and get up and fight for the next generation.
Facts.
We can't continue fighting for ourselves.
Yeah.
This is about our young people. So what are you doing as far as to make sure that young people are involved in your fight?
Yeah, we actually have a Youth for Kena group.
Okay.
And this is our first time in young voters in the district who are supporting the campaign. It's about 24 of them.
Wow.
Right.
And they live in the Illinois 7th Congressional District. Some of them live in black neighborhoods. Some of them live in the white neighborhoods. Some of them, but the generation under us is extremely politically charged.
Yeah.
Like they grew up and seeing these marches and a lot of things happening. The other night, the Youth for Kena group actually hosted a phone bank for the campaign, and they made over 10,000 dials into the district.
Nice.
Talking to voters. And so, like, when we talk about people power and why it's important to engage young people, it's because some of them may not want to run for office.
Right.
Some of them might want to be the campaign staff.
Right.
Other people might want to shape public policy. And so, one, we're including them in our campaign, right? And we're allowing them to have a voice in and around a lot of the issues that are important to them.
Yeah.
But most importantly is just listening to them.
Yeah.
A lot of the young black men and young black girls in Austin, for example, where I'm from, the neighborhood I'm from, they're self-medicating.
Right.
Wow.
Because
100%.
they are
Yeah.
traumatized by what is happening in the community.
Facts.
Right.
And who's listening to them? Who's talking to them about these issues? And do we just throw them away and lock them up, right? And so this has been a journey, for me too, as a candidate, to have them see up close and personal what the possibilities can be.
All right. So the real quick, tell people, because we wind it down, tell people where they can find you, how they can find your platform, and the day of the election.
Yep. So the election has been moved to June 28th because of the census and the redistricting. And folks can find me at KenaCollins.com. So KINA, last name Collins, COLLINS.com. They can find me on Twitter at Kena, KINA Collins, COLLINSIL_ on Twitter. And they can find me on Instagram.
Where can they find you real quick?
You can find me at listen,
you want to put your social media out there right now?
I really don't. I keep telling you.
You hold tight.
I'm an everyday Joe Blow that's just tired of the buffoonery and shenanigans. That's really what it comes down to.
So let me say this, man. We need new leadership.
I'm sorry. I think this is so funny
go
because
ahead.
we get this question a lot. I am not related to Congresswoman Curtis Collins. She was the first black woman to sit in the seat in the Illinois 7th.
Why you don't just say you related to her? It ain't good? No.
I wish I was related to Congresswoman Collins. So, no. But
Yeah. Nice. We need new leadership, y'all.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is an everyday struggle with making sure that we have folks to represent our communities. And let me just say, we cannot continue to have folks who've been there 30 years who can't even make it to votes. All right. We need people who are going to fight for their districts and their wards, et cetera. And we must make sure that we're providing opportunity for the next generation of leaders to get in. This woman right here, Kena Collins, raised $500,000. The biggest challenger ever to challenge Danny Davis. It's going to be a one-on-one matchup, right? Not a crowded field at all. A black young woman who have been organizing the community. She was on the front lines with me when we were fighting against Jason Van Dyke. And at the end of the day, we got to start to bring up new leaders, right? And run them in politics, support them financially, support them with our vote. We got to have change in the city and state. And the only way to do it is if we change the leadership of our city and our state. Now, any last or final words?
No, I'm really excited for this race. I think this is going to be an opportunity for a healthy primary between me and Congressman Davis. I have respect for the work that the congressman has done. Yeah. And for anybody who thinks that we're not doing it right, look, come to the campaign office. Yeah. The good thing about having political outsiders running is that I don't owe anybody any political favors.
There you go.
And so if you think that what you heard today wasn't good, you want me to sharpen my platform, look, I want to sit down and I want to talk to you. I want to be educated continuously throughout this process. And I'm ready to organize people and take the seat.
All right. That sounds good. All right. So real quick, we're going to go to a 30-second break, and I'm going to be back with my final thought before we end the show. I want to thank Keena Collins, running for Congress, another powerful black woman who's been doing her thing.
Women's History Month.
It's Women's History Month, y'all. It's Women's History Month. All right. All right, y'all. We'll be right back.
Jackson Show. We'll be back after this break. Maze Jackson.
What's up, Chicago? This is your man, Maze Jackson, host of the Maze Jackson Show. You hear me every single day ask the question, what's in it for the black people? Well, finally, y'all, we've got an answer, and it's called the Black People First Party. Meet us every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at TP, located at 5401 South Wentworth, Unit 17E. That's in the mall at the 55th and the Dan Ryan. And you join us every Saturday where we are taking our politics black. We'll teach you everything you need to know about the game, from how to collect a petition, to how to knock on a door, to even how to become the next mayor of the city of Chicago. That's right, y'all. It is the Black People First Party. Meet us every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at TP, located at 5401 South Wentworth in the mall at 55th and the Dan Ryan. And if you don't like it, you can still tell them, Maze said. This is a black people thing you wouldn't even understand.
Maze Jackson.
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. But won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over there?
All right now.
Look, I do have some little tunes.
I see. You gonna have me sing it on here. First of all, thank you everybody that has watched the show. Shout out to Maze Jackson for allowing me on the platform to have a better show than he usually has. No, I'm just playing. Maze, if you commented so much, man, you might as well come on back. You know what I'm saying? I thought you was gonna spring back on the beach or something with your feet out. You know what I'm saying? But no, I appreciate you for having me and all of the guests here today. Let me just say this. Every day, right? Every day, and I talked about this earlier, right? The fight is to make sure that we have a place in these communities and we have power in this city. We have to build economic power. We got to build political power. We got to build a cultural foundation of how we guide our young people going forward. And at the end of the day, you know, everybody's going to have their methods, right, on how they want to get there. But we need everybody to be a part of the fight. I don't care if you becoming a homeowner on a block on a neighborhood that may not have a lot of investment, but you're being one of the first people to make that investment, or a business owner in a neighborhood that may not have a thriving business district, but you are being that first anchor to bring those businesses to come join you in. We all have a part to play. If you're being a politician to run for office, you know, and with the understanding that you're going to put people first and your people in your community first, we need you. We need you. This is the opportunity that we can build unity, that we can make sure that the black dollar even matters, right, going forward. And that's what we're going to continue to do each and every day. Every day, I invest in entrepreneurs. I have many businesses I invest in that all black entrepreneurs who did not have the resources, right? And I was able to bring in the resources and be able to catapult them to success, all right? Every day, I help build homeowners, right? Helping them from A to B, build their credit, taxes, etc., in the underserved communities and help them become homeowners so that they could build generational wealth. We need tangibles, people. We need tangibles. So for the folks that are buying political, media and things of that sort, that's fine. But the reality of the situation is that we need everybody on board to give tangibles to these communities. We need a new generation of black entrepreneurs. We need a new generation of black homeowners. We need investment in young people. We need to build the community centers. We need to bring the black man back in the household and in the community, in that village. We have the opportunity to do this. We got the opportunity to do it together. Thank you so much for listening to the show for the last few hours this morning. I ain't never got up this early, but when Mays call and beg you to, no, I'm just playing. I'll see y'all again soon, man. I want to come on Mays Jackson show when he comes back, man. I hope you're having a great spring break, and good luck to the wifey, Carrie Steele. And I'm a big supporter of What's in It for the Black People and What's in It for the Black People Media. Can't wait to come back. Thank y'all so much for having me.